for Women's Development Bank, SME loans, etc. Kufuor's era. Kufuor's era marked by intimidation and threats. Professor Kwesi Enin is speaking here. ECG management warned to stop payments, and the Buakwa South NDC wants fire service recruitment at Chebi Training Center halted. And coming up, Bank of Ghana and Guyana hard cash shipments.
The Catholic Standard, the final newspaper I have for this morning, cooperate with the Catholic Church. Former German president talking here, and he's seen here with the nuncio, who is welcoming the former president of Germany, His Excellency Wolf, to the country. Also, professional involvement needed to strengthen catechism. And then also unity, moral imperative for progress. That's according to President John Dramani Mahama, and some other stories here in the Catholic Standard.
Do you have more? Let me get you online. There's a lot of interesting stories. If you go to Channel 1 News, 3 dead as police foil attempt to steal gold from Newmont's mining site. Charlie, these are getting crazy. Other stories were committed to strengthen Ghana's justice system. This is the president. He also says we will pass a code of conduct for office holders. In other headlines, 2 dead, 1 critically injured after mining pit collapses in Osino. And then a lot of stories on energy. And Namwesi lost Mohammed's nomination of Jinapo as energy minister. And then fulfill 60 minister promise. A political scientist is telling Mahama. And then Electrochem condemns armed assault on facility by alleged NDC thugs. Meanwhile, minority is asking Mahama to stop attacks on state property by supporters of the NDC. Now, if you go to citynewsroom.com, the lead story, Ghana to seek more IMF support, Ato Forsen is speaking. Also, Mahama to set up committee to review Ghana's educational sector. This was in the news this morning with Nana Tufo. Indeed, I needed to read that in conjunction with the PTAs asking for SHSs to be closed down. I'll bring that shortly. Meanwhile, Blackwa says Oral has gathered sufficient evidence on looted state properties. They'll hand over the evidence to the president. Meanwhile, ECG needs private sector to enhance efficiency. John Jenapo is also speaking to that matter. I'll take you to a few more websites. Marjo Online is leading with the Ato Forsen story. Meanwhile, Api Akubi says Mahama has been careful in selecting his ministers. Mahama says, I promised only 60, yet thousands of people are sending their CVs.
Yeah, but that's how it works. So that you sieve through and get the best.
So the system now.
Yeah.
But
of course, I mean, we do know that there's a view some take that if you now know that the problem is so big, then maybe you might want to.
They knew the problem before they came. Don't kind
but they didn't know about doom. So
Charlie, stop. There's, it's not the number of ministers that solve the problem. It's the quality of people.
So you never know.
Please.
It may work the other way too.
It's not. You can have 120 ministers if they shall. So get proper people to do the work.
You can have 200 ministers and they will solve the problem very nicely.
Stop pushing this. It won't go.
I'm not pushing it. I'm just raising the alternative view.
Stop. BBC, California fire death toll doubles as chaos grips LA. That's a big one. And across Africa, Mozambique is still boiling as the opposition leader returns to town. SADC and other African leaders need to act on this Mozambique situation. All right, now let's go with you with the president's appointments of the three.
So the Chronicle has the story. It's on page 3 of the newspaper this morning, and the story says the president, John Dramani Mahama, has announced his first batch of ministerial appointments, nominating 3 persons to the ministries of Finance, Energy, and Attorney General and Justice. Now, the minority leader, Dr. Kesiel Ato Forsen, has been named as the Minister Designate for Finance, John Abdullah Jinapo nominated as Minister Designate for Energy, and Dr. Dominic Ayine appointed as the Attorney General Minister for Justice designate. Let me just make a few corrections. So they have not been appointed.
They've been nominated.
They are nominated.
Then after the parliamentary process, the appointment will be confirmed.
Exactly.
Continue.
Yeah, the nomination of these 3 leaves a total of 57 ministers yet to be nominated, since the president promised during the campaign to appoint not more than 60 ministers. Now it goes on to say that on Thursday, January 9, 2025, 2025 during the second sitting of the first meeting of the first session of the 9th Parliament of the Fourth Republic. The Speaker, Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbin, read a letter from the President informing Parliament of the nomination.
Meanwhile, the President has acknowledged the immense pressure and high expectations surrounding his administration's commitment to appointing a lean government. Speaking at a presidential dinner in Accra on Wednesday, President Mahama highlighted the challenges of managing public expectations while ensuring effective governance. Quote, "You wouldn't want to be in my shoes when you promise to appoint only 60 ministers. Yet thousands of people are sending in their CVs. Then maybe some people will be disappointed," the president said. He stressed that while the size of government is an important consideration, the success of his administration depends on contributions from all sectors of society, not just ministerial appointments. Caleb.
Now, there are some reactions to this development, particularly to the energy minister's choice.
Yes.
Executive Director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy, Ben Boache, has been expressing confidence in Mr. Jinapor. He says, "I can say that Mr. Jinapor's choice to the energy sector is great because he understands the issues, and we can only hope that he translates the knowledge of the sector into action." And then he makes some demands. ECG needs to be privatized, and he needs to kickstart the process from day one to get it through. And he was touching on Dr. Atufosun as well, and he said the nominee had in-depth knowledge of the economic sector and was likely to do well, all things being equal. Back to the energy sector. The energy sector will succeed when there is effective collaboration between the energy and finance ministers. So I want the two of them to cooperate
I can sense something. So the president is talking about ECG privatization, or not ECG, like private sector participation. And then you also have Jinapor saying this. Now, on the Citi Newsroom, there's a story that says Ghana is to renegotiate with the US for $190 million for electricity. So it seems as if the government wants to go back to the Millennium Challenge Corporation for the terminated compact, which had a private sector participation. So when you hear all these hints, so the president disclosed this during a courtesy call on him by Mr. Osman Diagana, the World Bank Vice President for West and Central Africa in Accra. He says Ghana is ready to renegotiate with the US for possible reinstatement of $190 million under the Millennium Challenge Corporation that had been devoted to the electricity sector. Now, Mr. Mahama reiterated that there was a need for his administration to change the systems in the energy sector to make sure they pay down the debts and make it more efficient than currently. So what I'll say is, watch this space. Now here's a quote. "I spoke to the Americans and met the Millennium Challenge Corporation, and we asked if they could reinstate the $190 million that they had devoted to that aspect of it. And they said the door is not closed," the president said. So mark this space.
So you see why it's important that some of these meetings get done.
Yes. What? Oh, of course. No, I didn't say the meeting was not important. This guy stopped that.
Let me take you to the news center.
Oh Lord.
They are on Apenyo Making and his comments on the matter. Now, Apenyo Making criticizes President Mahama's thought approach to ministerial appointments. And it says Mr. Alexander Kwame Apenyo Making, the minority leader in Parliament, has criticized President John Dramani Mahama's method of announcing ministerial appointments, it's like the nominations, describing it as thought, a piecemeal approach that he believes undermines governance efficiency. Now, the minority leader's remarks followed the speaker's announcement, as we told you yesterday. But basically, Apenyo Makin is saying that a government that promised 24-hour economy to keep the economy running and many other things, and talking about urgency of governance, would have to stop this thought approach.
Let me go.
Meanwhile, though, a quick observation: all the nominees who were announced yesterday happen to have served as deputy ministers under previous NDC
Interesting. Actually, right. Atufosun Finance. Jinapor was deputy energy,
and then Dominica.
So there seems to be a method here. So now let's go to education. So the president has announced plans to establish a national education reform committee to review Ghana's educational system comprehensively. This review will encompass all levels of education from basic to tertiary to strengthen the country's educational system. Speaking at the National Convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Mission in Winneba on Thursday, the president emphasized the importance of reforms to enhance the quality and accessibility of education in Ghana. Now, this is important because as we speak, there are issues.
Yes, so PTAs are urging, calling on the government to close senior high schools to address feeding and other critical issues. Sorry, on page 13 of Daily Graphic.
To close them down?
Yes. Yes. So National Council of Parent-Teacher Association has called for the closure of senior high schools until the issue of feeding and other pressing matters are addressed. According to the council, nothing was currently working in the schools after they reopened on Friday, January 3, 2025. Quote, nothing is working in the schools. All the assurances from the previous government that they will support with feeding, they will provide funds for feeding, and all those things are not there. This is General Secretary of the Council, Raphael Kofi Gabson, speaking. And they've been warning in a statement issued on December 31. The school head said the government failed to respond to 3 appeals since August 2024 for payment of arrears covering perishables, recurrent fees, and food transportation costs. Now, the National Secretary of CHAS, Barrow Primus, therefore directed all regional branches to notify parents of the potential of delay through parent association. Now, school heads have warned that members who defy the directive would face sanctions for betraying their collective stance.
So let's understand this. Yesterday, CHAS came out to say that parents should bring food to support the school. Now there's PTA is saying that the school should actually be closed down for problems to be dealt with
because of the inadequacy of funds and lack of preparedness. So
the
PTA is still alive. I thought
that was one of the things that so that the association has always been there. The PTA or Parents Association, but PTAs have not been very active in the past few years. Now let me go to some very interesting stories. 3 dead as police for mining attempt to steal gold from Newmont's mining site. This is a story on Channel 1 News. The Ghana Police Service has successfully restored order to Ntotroso in the Ahafo region after a group of individuals allegedly attempted to break into Newmont's mining site to steal gold on the night of Wednesday, January 8, 2025. The incident escalated into a confrontation with personnel of the Ghana Police Service, resulting in the death of 3 people with 4 others sustaining injuries. Now, in a statement issued on Thursday, the police informed that calm had been restored in the town following an engagement between IGP and the community leaders. Now, an investigative team has been deployed to the community to investigate the incident. Reinforcement has also been sent into the community to restore calm. Now, Sky, this is quite bizarre. The police then issued a statement that listed, let me just give you like 3 paragraphs. Police has restored calm at Ntotroso in Ahafo following an attempted breach of security at Newmont mining site by some persons to allegedly steal gold last night. During the operation to contain the situation, the police confronted the suspects, leading to the death of 3 persons and injuries to 4 others. The IGP worked on the phone with the regional team to engage community leaders and the youth throughout the night till this morning to stabilize the situation. A special investigative team has been sent to the area to investigate the incident. And then there are other details there. Why will people go and try to steal gold from a fully armed?
That's some way.
And then 2 dead, 1 critically injured after mining pit collapses at Osino. Still related to mining, 2 young men have been confirmed dead after a mining pit they were working in caved in at Osino in Fantiakwa south of the eastern region. According to Channel 1 news sources, the victims were part of a group of about 7 miners working in the pit around 2 a.m. on Wednesday when the tragic incident occurred. The pit unexpectedly collapsed, trapping some of the miners. Upon hearing of the incident, residents rushed to the scene to assist with rescue efforts. 3 people were successfully retrieved from the pit alive and rushed to the Xavier Memorial Hospital. Unfortunately, 3 people were rescued, but the hospital said 2 of them died. But the 3rd one survived and is in critical condition. This is pretty horrific, you know. Now let me come back to you.
Yeah, so Bernard, I have 2 stories, but staying with the socials. The Herald newspaper has an interesting editorial, fairly controversial, if you like. So you know that Bese Manche has spoken about the fact that they don't want to see Kantamanto return in its current shape and form, and that the land does not belong to the people who are occupying the space. That's the report. But the Herald is taking issue with that. They are saying Kantamanto should remain the way it is in the editorial.
Why?
So the paper says that, like most Ghanaians, this newspaper believes the timing of this call by the Bese Manche could easily pass as adding salt to injury to the traders who are already suffering from this huge loss. The Bese Manche and his people, although have the right to the land, must be told in unmistakable terms that the move to deny the traders their source of livelihood under the economic conditions we find ourselves in currently as a country would be a double whammy. Again, as a newspaper, we think whatever decision would be taken regarding the future of Kantamanto market, the structure and outlook of the market should not change. We don't need to erect concrete buildings everywhere. Kantamanto Market has become a part and parcel of our heritage. It serves not only as a place of business for millions of Ghanaians who travel from far and near to come and transact business, but it can also serve as a tourist attraction. We must strive to create a balance between protecting our way of life and profit motive. It goes on to talk about.
To be fair, I was a bit surprised that Bese Manche made the call at the time he did, because you know people were just reeling from the effects of the fire. So even if you wanted to pass information across about that land, I don't think that was the right time.
Yeah, while I agree with you, the culture of that place is that the moment it burns,
right away,
hours after or just a day or two after, the people go back to erecting. So as we speak, if you go there, you see people working giddy erecting the structure. Yeah, exactly. So you know, we need to find a way to actually resolve the issues. But let me take you to another story quickly. Keeping the lights on. You know, we are told that Doomsaw is lacking, as Bernard has put it. So I'll keep the lights on without fail. This is President Mahama talking. Max Solofori reporting this morning says that the President John Dramani Mahama has assured Ghanaians that his government would work to keep the lights on amidst threats of power outages. Now, according to him, the stakeholders meeting held at his behest had birthed innovative ideas to safeguard the nation from what is popularly known as Doomsaw. And he goes on to provide some other details.
Bernard, security consultant Professor Kwesi Enin has been reflecting on the Akufo-Addo era. He says it was marked by intimidation and threats. He's revealed that threats significantly impacted his ability to express his security analysis freely. It comes days after the now majority leader Kesola Tufosen accused Attorney General Godfred Yabu-Adame of leading a campaign of malicious prosecution aimed at damaging his reputation and undermining his influence as a prominent opposition figure. So Professor Enin shared that the intimidation tactics included threats to his livelihood and attempts to discredit him. Quote, earlier on, I could speak and write, and I went to bed in peace. You know, nobody threatened to cut my salary. Nobody threatened to call my former bosses to dismiss me. The last 8 years have been hell for me, just for doing what I've been trained with the Ghanaian taxpayers' money to do. This is Professor Kwesi Enin.
In the meantime, still in the security space, there's a story here in the Chronicle alleging that soldiers have blocked workers of the District Assembly Common Fund from accessing their office. Now, the story is by Max Solofori, and it says just a day after the swearing in of President John Dramani Mahama, some public offices across the country were hijacked by alleged signs of the governing National Democratic Congress. Now, in the morning of Wednesday, January 8, 2025, the Chronicle picked up reliable information that some men in military uniform had taken custody of the office of the District Assembly's Common Fund in Accra, actually locking staff outside. Now, the Chronicle gathered that these alleged military officers would not listen to any explanation and stood their stance not to open the gate for the workers of the District Assembly's Common Fund to enter the office to carry out their duties as public workers. Now, the situation was so bad that the staff were left stranded outside the main entrance of their head office in Accra, near the presidential annex, close to the Parliament House, which shares a boundary with the Electoral Commission.
Now, Caleb, let's take your final story. Then I'll move you to...
Yeah, but if this is happening, look, it's completely unacceptable. Once they are workers, the people should go in there and do their work. The last time I checked, the president hasn't said that workers should not go into their office, and even if that directive was given, it would have been unconstitutional and awful. Now, the soldiers, if indeed they are doing what they are doing, because yesterday I passed there, I want to transact some business.
Why didn't you stop there?
No, I saw soldiers there, but I didn't know. I didn't know that they were blocking workers.
Guta wants Kenoferiata's e-levy maintained. Curious one, yeah.
How?
Just straight to the point. Dr. Joseph Obeng, president of Guta, holds a contrary view to all the promises of both Baumia and
the man
Mahama.
promised to remove e-levy. The e-levy must go.
But let's hear his argument. I would suggest that if possible, the government should not abolish the e-levy.
Why?
We can use the proceeds from e-levy to provide access to finance for SMEs and for the women that the president is so concerned about. You know, this is my view, and I am expressing it because if he wants to raise funds to support the informal sector, SMEs and women.
Let's hold on. You see, this is the thing. You promise people something, they vote for you. Do what you promise. Let's not make it look like when you come to power, no, your eye clear. You see, we have to maintain integrity. This e-levy.
It's good time that is asking.
We don't. No, you should stop that. You should stop that. You should stop that.
The Toberi at the day.
This one, I don't listen to. The e-levy must go.
If the reality, we should be flexible about some of these.
What about the betting tax? Because now another economist says they should
the people the thing and they give you the money.
I agree that promises by their nature are immune to changing circumstances.
No, stop it.
But the person is expressing a view.
He is not giving any proper reason.
Which is entitled to. But you should hear him.
No, we should use the money to support
we will
the
not hear him.
and the women business.
E-levy must go.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Hello, everyone. I'm Hanefri, the Health and Safety Manager of Total Energies Ghana. I want to remind you of the importance of road safety, especially as the festive season draws closer. Road accidents don't just happen, they are caused. Reckless driving, overspeeding, and poor vehicle maintenance are some of the leading causes during this period. Here are a few tips to keep you safe. Always ensure your vehicle is in good condition before traveling. Please wear your seatbelt and avoid distractions like using your phone whilst driving. Let's commit to responsible behavior on the road this season. Remember, safety starts from you. Safety for me, for you, and for all. Afishapa.
My body, when you wake up in the morning, and you know the money calling. Oh, you go work. But you know it's at your side. If I believe with us, if I hold my hand and believe, cause you know it's at your side. And when you dream, no say I live for you. And when you hustle every day, when you wanna go, anything you do, I live for you. If I believe I live your side. Fidelity. If I believe with us, fidelity. If I know I need your side, fidelity.
Looking for a burst of flavor in every sip? Discover the refreshing taste of Piva beverages. Enjoy the classic Piva Cola flavor, perfect fit anytime. How about a fruity adventure? Try our delightful Piva orange fruit drink packed with recognized citrus flavor. Craving something exotic? Our Piva cocktail fruit drink brings the tropics to you. For a sweet and juicy treat, grab our grapefruit drink and don't miss out on the refreshing Piva tangerine fruit drink, bursting with tangerine flavor. Piva Cola, Piva Orange, Piva Cocktail, Piva Grape, Piva Tangy. Grab yours today. Available now at your local store. Call us on 055-00-322-31. Piva, a taste you love. This advert is FDA approved.
P for Piva.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
City Business News next with EcoBank, MTN and Goyle. Latte has the details. Good morning.
Good morning, Bernard. Hello to you out there. Welcome to the Friday edition of the breakfast edition of City Business News on 97.3 Citi FM, proudly brought to you by EcoBank, MTN and Goyle. My name is Ni Latte. This morning, let's begin from the Treasury bill market, where there are projections that the government could borrow about 200 billion Ghana cedis from the Treasury bill market in 2025. This is, however, a reduction from the estimated 220 billion Ghana cedis in 2024, according to Data Bank research. This represents an average weekly borrowing of 3.9 billion Ghana cedis, down from the 4.2 billion Ghana cedis in the previous year. There is more in the following report by Citi Business News' Daniel Sakite.
The decline in reliance on short-term funding is attributed to improved access to alternative funding sources and a strategic shift towards long-term securities. This development aligns with broader economic recovery trends and increasing access to international financial markets, providing the government with flexibility to explore sustainable financing options. However, the transition towards long-term instruments is expected to fully materialize after the first quarter of 2025. In the interim, refinancing pressures and maturing debt from the significant borrowings in the latter half of 2024 are likely to sustain demand for short-term treasury instruments. The reduced demand for T-bill financing is anticipated to ease pressure on yields, offering the treasury an opportunity to reduce the cost of borrowing in the money market while strengthening fiscal stability.
Citi Business News' Daniel Sakite with that report. Now, the ministers designate for finance and energy are perhaps among the first to be nominated because of the huge role they will be playing in fixing the country's existing macroeconomic challenges. More so, they are to help the new John Mahama government, which is seeking to, among its immediate plans, stabilize the economy and improve the country's business climate. Their predecessors in the outgone government might have difficulties fixing the issues in their respective sectors. But the overwhelming victory of this government only means these nominees, if approved, will have to hit the ground running with some huge responsibilities that meet the expectations of the citizenry. The question that lingers then is, what could their priorities be?
Dr. Atoforsin's priority will be addressing the economic pressures that have squeezed households as Ghanaians grapple with reduced purchasing power. His immediate tasks will include measures aimed at improving the standard of living for citizens as economic relief becomes non-negotiable. One of the key focus areas for the finance minister designate will be stabilizing the local currency to foster trade and promote economic stability. With Ghana's public debt now exceeding 700 billion cedis, Dr. Atoforsin will also be responsible for strategically managing and reducing the debt burden, particularly as the country faces significant interest payments following the restructuring of both domestic and external debts. Additionally, the finance minister designate will need to address tax and import duty reforms. All eyes will be on how Dr. Atoforsin navigates the complex tax regime to support sustainable economic growth. There are also discussions surrounding adjustments to Ghana's current IMF deal and how the nominee lease negotiations will be closely watched. Ghana has so far received $1.92 billion of the $3 billion credit facility, and the outcome of these talks will be crucial to securing the country's financial future. Beyond fiscal management, it will be important for the nominee to create a business-friendly climate to attract and retain investment. The energy sector too is under scrutiny, especially with the looming threat of a power crisis caused by both technical and financial challenges. John Jinapor, the nominee for Energy Minister, is stepping into a role that demands immediate action. His top priority will be ensuring uninterrupted energy supply, which is essential for both households and businesses. He will also be tasked with managing the sector's liability to restore financial stability. With fuel prices continuing to rise, improving the efficiency and output of the Tema oil refinery and addressing the taxes that contribute to high ex-palm prices will be key issues for Jinapor. Moreover, the upstream petroleum sector has faced disputes that have undermined investor confidence. Resolving these disputes to foster harmony and attract investment will be critical for the energy minister designate. Furthermore, addressing inefficiencies at the ECG and improving the cash waterfall mechanism will be important to ensure the long-term sustainability of the energy sector.
That was a Newsdesk report I filed. Meanwhile, peasant farmers are advising President John Dramani Mahama to nominate a youthful agricultural minister who has a rich agricultural background and has experience to deal with the challenges in the sector. The farmers are also urging the president to nominate a minister who is approachable, understands their concerns, and has the ability to connect with stakeholders in the value chain. The peasant farmers expressed their readiness to collaborate to ensure that smallholder farmers and the agricultural sector thrive by the end of John Dramani Mahama's term. Now, energy sector players are stressing the need for the plant maintenance activities on the offshore West African gas pipeline to be postponed for 12 weeks to avert a looming energy crisis. Stakeholders in the space raised concerns about the timing of the plant maintenance, cautioning that it could strain energy production capacity and potentially lead to power outages. Nana Amoisi VII is Executive Director of the Institute for Energy Security, and he has been speaking to Citi Business News. Apologies, there will bring you that particular voice in subsequent bulletins. But before I go, let me take you to the forex market, where the dollar is going for 15 cedis 90 pesos, the British pound trading at 19 cedis 80 pesos, that of the euro going for 16 cedis 80 pesos. And that's it for the breakfast edition of Citi Business News. It was brought to you by EcoBank, MTN and Gwell. For more business stories, you can visit our website, citinewsroom.com/business. My name is Ni Latte. Do have a good business day. Next is the Citi Business Edition.
Every day, people have money emergencies. Ma, I need my school fees. Mommy chop money. Crash it. Mommy rent. Emergency. Now, there's a new emergency number in town.
More money, challenge and enjoyment. At the top life we got.
Dial *770# for money emergencies and chop life.
For emergency access to your bank accounts, transfers, utility payments, loans, and more. Dial *770#. Bank on the go even without data with EcoBank's short code for digital banking. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
The other day, I visited Kweku at his spunky new office to congratulate him on opening his business. And man, was I impressed. The business is just moving quick. The sales, customers, everything is just working seamlessly. The secret? He said,
it's MTN Business Broadband. In this fast-paced environment, we need fast and reliable internet to support all business types. No laggy online meetings, great download and upload speeds, impeccable business management systems, all inclusive. I mean, you can have it all.
Sharp! I signed on immediately.
To enable your business stay ahead and stay connected, make sure you're signed on to the best internet made just for businesses. MTN Business Broadband. Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh and manage your account on my MTN app. Call 0244 308 111 for more information. We are good together everywhere you go.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation. The Citi Breakfast Show. Rise above the noise. This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Not because say I tell you, say I care. That be the reason why you want put me for. Not because say I tell you, say I love you. That be the reason why you want put me for. While I do, you know go laugh me for my face. 97.3. While I do, you know go fit to use my head. Wicked love in a wicked world. This is wicked love in a wicked world. Baby Rita, she take on my ginger. She dey speak in my lingua. Angelina Waka, fresh like Uganda. We are one kill leg back. She dey chook me tata. In a wicked world, this is wicked love.
The Citi Breakfast Show. Rise above the noise.
It's 11 after 7. We'll be bringing you Citi Business Edition shortly. Today we are doing tax conversations. This is the Oxfam Tax Dialogue Progressive Tax 1. We'll be talking to, you'll be hearing Mary Dakun, Society of Women in Taxation and Ni Ado Green Tax Youth Africa. I'll be talking all you need to know about tax. It's a big conversation. You don't want to miss out on this one. However, importantly, EcoBank wants me to let you know that there are scammers all around and their main intention is to steal your money. So be extra vigilant. Never trust any phone call, text message or email from anyone posing as a staff seeking to assist customers to update their bank details. Bank account details can only be updated at an EcoBank branch. Your EcoBank mobile app can only be upgraded at App Store or Play Store, and linking your Ghana card can to your EcoBank account is at any EcoBank branch or at www.ecobank.com. So do not share your details, whether your 16-digit, your password, your PIN, any sensitive information to anyone, whether face-to-face or online. There is a toll-free number if you feel insecure or in doubt. 0800 003225. And MTN Ghana says, have you heard the latest from us? If not, then listen. For those of you who love MTN Free After One, prepare for the upgraded experience at MTN Free After One Extra. Now, let me tell you what the extra is all about. With MTN Free After One Extra, you can talk for 1 whole hour uninterrupted while paying for only the first minute of every 10 minutes you talk. Which means for every 10 minutes you talk within the hour, you only pay for the first minute. And you get to talk for 60 minutes straight with no interruptions. You like what you hear? Well, as if that's not enough, you also get 50 megabytes of data for free after your first call. To subscribe to the MTN Free After One Extra today, just dial star 550 hash. Star 550 hash. Follow the prompts and you're good to go. Go Good Energy brings you Go Super XP, ideal for most vehicles. It's flowing at all of our stations across the country. Just go fuel up and enjoy smooth ride. Its quality gives you the correct choice when buying regular fuel. Fortified with a special additive gives you longevity. Gives longevity to your engine, makes your engine perform to the max. Go Super XP, good energy and idea. Real estate is a key part of every wealth portfolio. You need to make it to that point. Make it a point to own some. This 2025 Apollonia City is offering you an opportunity to own premium plots of land at competitive prices with up to a 3-year payment plan. Service lands come with access to water and electricity, tarred roads, solar powered street lights, access to high-speed internet and so much more. Beautifully crafted 2, 3, 4-bedroom homes for you to choose from. And with the construction of the Adenta Dodowa Highway underway, you are assured that the property you acquire is sure to appreciate exponentially. So call us 0275 577 577 0542 777 2222. So let's jump into Citi Business Edition today, talking tax. The Oxfam Tax Dialogue Progressive. Today we are looking at Progressive Tax Part 1. Mary Daku is with the Society of Women in Taxation, and Ni Ado is with Green Tax Youth Africa. Enjoy.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Please wait, please wait, please wait until I get my new car. Please wait until I find my real size. I'm gonna get me some love so bad. My girl, sweet girl, my girl.
Hello there, welcome to another season of the Oxfam Tax Dialogue. Here it is an interactive and insightful platform where we look at all the tax policies of the country, get to understand the tax structure of Ghana, and also look at how sustainable they are if they best fit the current dispensation. But more importantly, create that awareness and education in helping you understand
the tax policies of the country, and also how you as a citizen can also fulfill the obligation when it comes to honoring your tax responsibilities for national and socio-economic development. My name is Ni Lati. I'm your host. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are watching us on TV, this is Channel 1 TV. If you tuned in on radio, this is 97.3 Citi FM. We are taking a break. When we come back, I'll introduce my guest, introduce the topic for today's discussion, and we'll set the ball rolling. Don't go away. Thank you for staying with us here on Channel 1 TV and 97.3 Citi FM. Like I mentioned to you earlier, this is the Oxfam Tax Dialogue. This is the first in series of many to come on this channel as well as this platform, if you stay with us throughout this period as we look at the tax architecture of the country. My name is Ni Lati. How are we starting off? We are kicking off trying to get a good sense of what progressive taxation is, and that is the topic on the table for today. My guests, two fine brains, they are here to really appreciate what progressive taxation is, what it means, the various legs of progressive taxation, and how we can tap into the numerous benefits when it comes to progressive taxation. On my far left is Ni Ado, Executive Director for Green Tax Youth Africa. Ni Ado, you are not new on this platform. Good to see you. We meet on a yearly basis. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, and greetings to you. It's a new year.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a new year, and good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. Good to see
well,
you.
Next to me is Mary Dako, Associate Director, PricewaterhouseCoopers, that's PwC. But for the purposes of this discussion, you are representing the Society for Women in Taxation.
Yes, that's correct.
Good to see you, Mary. Welcome.
Good to see you too. Thank you.
And how is PwC doing? How is Society for Women in Taxation also doing?
PwC is doing well. As you know, we are a professional services firm. We provide accounting services or audit services. We also provide tax services as well as advisory services. So any form of professional services. Then the Society of Women in Taxation as well is doing well. So it is the umbrella body of women who are practicing tax within the Chartered Institute of Taxation in Ghana.
I see. Good to have you once again.
Thank you.
Ni, how is your organization also doing?
Well, Green Tax Youth Africa, I mean, we are a policy think tank. We are looking at taxation, like you call it. But more importantly, we are looking at it from the green economy point of view, because taxation is shifting, and whilst there are emerging issues coming up when it comes to climate change, there's a need for us to look at how we can live our life normally, generate internal funds to finance certain development when it comes to the climate agenda. So, I mean, green tax is looking at it from those angles. Whilst we go into other things like, tax and equity, we look at the financial architecture, especially the UN Tax Convention. So those are some of the things that we are looking at when it comes to Green Tax with Africa.
I see. And so the two of you, I'm trying to believe that you are going to make today's, education very simple as well as very insightful for everyone to really understand what we mean when we say progressive taxation. But I want to start with you, Mary. When we say progressive taxation, what are we talking about?
All right, so thank you, Ni, for that question. To begin, I would want to, because there are two terms that we are looking at here, progressive taxation. So I want to take it from the taxation side first, and then I'll come to the progressive aspect. So when we talk about taxes, what is taxes? So if you ask the ordinary person on the street, what is tax? I'm sure apart from the sentiments or the emotions that they would attach to it, they will not be able to really tell you what a tax is. So if you are looking at the OECD classification for taxes, taxes are defined as a mandatory contribution or a mandatory payment that is unrequited. So the two characteristics of taxes is that they are mandatory. Mandatory because they are supported by the law, and it's not a voluntary contribution that one makes. And unrequited because when you make the payment, the returns or the benefit that comes to you are not really proportional to how much you pay. So I feel that it's important to actually lay this foundation before we go to progressive taxation. So when we talk about progressive taxation, we are looking at the tax design or the way the tax is administered, such that instead of having like one rate that is applicable to income, there are different rates applicable to different levels of income. So as a person's income rises, the tax rate also increases. The nature of it is such that it reduces the burden of tax on low income earners and then increase or puts a lot of burden for those who are wealthy or those who can actually afford to pay more taxes. So the best illustration I can give for it is when you are taking a staircase, where every step that you take actually represents an additional income or an incremental income. And for each of these steps or staircases, there is an incremental rate of tax that applies to that income. So if you're standing up there or you're a wealthy person, the higher your income, the higher the rate of tax that you also have to pay. Whereas those who are at the bottom gets to then pay something lower. So it's a way of ensuring that the rich or the wealthy contribute more to society, and then there's a bit of relief given to those who are low income earners.
So simply put, the more you earn, the more you must pay when it comes to taxes.
Yes.
And so we will tax the rich to subsidize the poor.
That's it.
I see. And so before you continue, let me come to you, Ni. How different is it in terms of structure, designing the tax, administering it, comparing it to flat tax system?
All right, so let me just say something that Benjamin Franklin said. Benjamin Franklin said that, it's either you are dead or you are paying tax. So when you are not dead and you are alive, it means that you are paying tax. All right, so it means that tax is a mandatory thing that you have to pay. And is used in different ways. Now, she has explained the tax and the types. Let's look at taxes in the nature of it being flat or it being progressive. Now, the flat tax system is just like a regressive tax system. It's whether you are, so let's say that you put 2% on it, whether you are poor or you are rich, all of you are paying 2%. It means that it doesn't favor a certain group of people. And so you need to look at it from an angle where the ability to pay principal comes in, and that is the progressive nature. So as you grow in your income, we always say that, okay, so you start a business with 2 cities, but you don't want to be at that level of 2 cities. You want to go to 5 cities, you want to go to 10 cities. So it means that your profit returns are growing. So as you are gaining more, you are paying more, so that you lessen the burden on those who don't have. So the difference between the flat system is that it helps the rich because it's flat and the poor must pay. But when it's progressive in nature, it favors the poor, and then the rich also end up paying more to harness development.
But with this explanation that you gave, I want to also believe that it means that progressive tax will not cut across all forms of tax categories. For example, if it's a consumption tax like VAT, progressive tax will not work there. And so maybe progressive tax will work on something like income tax. So beyond these 2 examples that I have cited, maybe when it comes to the categories of taxes that best fit progressive tax and those ones that best fit, flat tax, how progressive or how retrogressive is each one of these categories? I don't know if my question is clear.
Should I?
Oh, okay,
so because of the question, I want to take it from a progressive and a regressive point.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so for instance, a progressive tax, you don't transfer it to anybody. So like the income, the PIT, and all, they are yours and they are deducted from source. But the regressive tax are the taxes like the VAT, which is transferred to the end user. So for instance, I go and buy something in the market and you put a tax of 5 cedis on it. When I come, I make sure that after calculating all the taxes that you have done, the one who is coming to consume the product end up paying it. So it means that it doesn't favor the rich. You transfer all the strength in terms of the tax payment to whoever is going to consume. At the end of the day, let me say the government like the low-hanging fruits, where the taxes by nature are regressive, and that is where you always get your money. But the hanging fruit that is low doesn't favor certain group or category of people. When you look at a lot of money that is coming into the system, it is coming from the industries. And the industries are the places where government must place the agenda. For instance, maybe you have Talu. Okay, so the recent issue about how much money we've lost. It also boils down to your regulatory system, your frameworks. All right. So ensure that you have a system that is progressive in nature, ensuring that you take more money from the rich and lessen the burden on the poor. Don't transfer the burden rather to the poor by having a regressive tax system.
And so the explanation also provided is more about social and income inequalities, trying to bridge the gap. But we want to take a break. When we come back, Mary will explain to us how a progressive tax system helps address, the income inequalities, social inequalities, but mind you, how that will also help balance revenue generation and the provision of public goods and services. This is the Oxfam Tax Dialogue on 97.3 Citi FM and Channel 1 TV. Welcome back to the Oxfam Tax Dialogue here on Channel 1 TV and 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Neela Tilati. We are talking about progressive taxation. My guest, Mary Darko from the Society of Women in Taxation, as well as Eni Ado from the Green Tax Youth Africa. And they are helping us understand what progressive taxation is. They've laid a foundation, told us the various dynamics of progressive taxation. Now we are delving into how it helps address the issue of income and social inequality vis-a-vis, the issue of revenue generation and how the government will rely on such a tax system for the provision of public goods and services. So, Mary, take us on this journey. We are trying to help address an issue which more often than not is about the inequalities when it comes to the payment of taxes, and that's why progressive taxation is one of the fundamental elements in a proper tax system, for the want of a better word. And so if we are trying to help address such an issue, how does the government do it in ensuring that they don't lose out on revenue? Because the majority of the people are those in the lower to middle income bracket. And so if progressive taxation is dependent heavily on the rich and we leave the poor who are in the majority, how does the government get that revenue to carry out its mandate?
All right, so thank you for that question. So back to the earlier point that you made regarding the different types of taxes that are administered. You'd also realize that sometimes for the sake of simplicity and not to make the tax administration so complex, even though the progressive taxation regime is a better way of collecting taxes, sometimes it's always not practical to use for the different categories of taxes. One area where it will be difficult to administer it is, for instance, consumption taxes or the VAT system as we know it. It will be difficult. For instance, you go to a shop to buy an item, and then they would have to then determine how much is your income and how much rate should then apply. It will not work. So that's why typically for consumption taxes and VAT, it's one rate that is applied. So the progressive taxation is typically applied for taxation of individuals, like we've already established, so PAYE or employment taxes. And that is a good way of ensuring that there is fair distribution of income within the economy, so that the rich will get to be paying more, and then the poor can also get some relief. Now, to your question of how then will the government balance to ensure that they are raising their revenues and also they are giving relief to the poor. So in every economy or in every society where there is a difference between the rich and the poor, and you can find it everywhere, the progressive nature of taxation, I believe, will be the most appropriate system to administer taxes. So by taxing the poor using a lower rate of income, hopefully they can get a bit more disposable income. So if they earn income and they get taxed at a lower rate, there is a bit more money, hopefully, that is left for them to then take care of their necessities or take care of the things that they need. They can also save. And then gradually, hopefully, if they use the money well, that is, if they're able to go past their basic necessities and save something extra.
The two of you are smiling. I don't know what is going through your head. Maybe you should explain to us.
And save something extra. Then they can then use that extra income to open up a business, to go into an enterprise and increase their income. By doing that, hopefully they will be able to move from the lower income brackets to the middle income brackets. And this was made possible because the rich were funding them. The rich were paying more by way of taxes. So the rich were the ones funding the infrastructure, making available school, paying for free SHS, because hopefully they are paying what they are required to pay. And then the poor, because of the relief that they are getting, hopefully the extra income that they make by not contributing it to taxes will then be used to then lift them from where they currently are into middle income. And then as they move into middle income, they will then get to contribute more to government revenue. And hopefully they would also move to a higher income earning bracket and also contribute more. So it's a system that ensures that once you give a tax break or you give some relief to the poor, they will be able to move, or that cycle of poverty will then change, and they will be able to move themselves from the lower income bracket to the middle income, where they will then get to contribute a bit more. And at that time, the rich who are already contributing would also get a good spread of what they are currently providing to society.
But do you believe that Ghanaians are not tax-paying people? And even so, government do not use tax resources efficiently. I'm asking this question because it takes me to our next question. I'm just interested in knowing how the rates, when it comes to progressive taxation, can be calibrated to ensure this fairness and equity that we are talking about. Because the ordinary Ghanaian thinks that, well, even if I pay my taxes, the government will not utilize it well. Why should I go ahead and pay it? And even if the taxes are made friendlier, they will not go ahead and pay the taxes.
So, to that question, that's where it takes me back to the definition of taxes that I gave. So it's a mandatory contribution. You don't have that free. It's not a voluntary contribution from your side. It's actually backed by the laws. And our legislature is the one that is empowered to pass these laws. So as a citizen or as a Ghanaian, your responsibility in the first place is to ensure that you are complying with these taxes. Once you've done that, then the next question is then how the taxes are used.
So you can demand accountability.
Exactly. But first of all, you comply, do your part as a citizen of the country. And then hopefully the systems within the country, the accountability systems, would also ensure that these taxes are used very well and there is no wastages within the system. But please, let's do our part first.
Mary says do your part before you can go in for the accountability bit of the tax conversation. But Lee, I don't know if you have something to add on to the questions I've put to Mary.
Well, I think when you talk about taxes, this is an interesting conversation, especially when it comes to us in Ghana. Nobody wants to pay tax. Even it's cut across everywhere, especially when you don't know what your taxes are being used for. So you don't want to pay. But as also she said, it's mandatory. That is something that we need to understand, that it is based on your taxes that some people who are working in the public services are being paid. For instance, of all the money that we collect, 60% of those taxes goes into compensation.
Wages and salaries.
Wages and salaries. So if you are not paying your taxes, somebody is working, the person is not going to be paid. Okay, so it's very important for us to look at it from all the other angles. Especially, the country is also in debt. Out of your taxes, debts are being paid. So procurement, other things are procured to run the country. These are all issues that when you think about them as an individual, you need to realize that, well, we need a taxes to run the country.
And it's good you've mentioned a bit that taxes are also used in paying debt. And so, for example, at a time where we have issues of high debt levels, high inflationary rates, difficult economic situation, especially when the global economic outlook remains uncertain, we have a new government coming in promising to, rationalize the taxes that we have in the country, also remove some taxes, key amongst them being the e-levy and COVID-19 levy. What are your general thoughts about the new government that we have on our hands? Its promise to rationalize the taxes, remove these taxes. How will it ensure that it deals with the high debt payments that we have to make, the difficult economic situation that we have, and tie it into a progressive taxation lens? Who wants to take this first shot?
Well, it's an interesting question, Nee. So, for me, I think the whole thing about rationalizing it is just putting brains to it. It's not anything. It's not going to be anything new. It's just putting brains to it, because there have been times we've spoken about earmarking. Let your taxes work. So, if we are generating such and such amount of money, there's a need for us to get some reports back that this is the amount of money that is being generated as a country. Can we do more? Can we ease it on the lower income bracket? So it is just and I think, let me reiterate what he said. He's going to be accountable to us. He's going to report back to us. So it's just putting brains to ensure that whatever he said is going to ensure that we get the needed report that we need to ensure that whether we are paying or not, then the onus is on us to ensure that we pay more. Now, scrapping the e-levy and then the COVID levy, I think the COVID levy, I mean, it's outlived its usefulness.
But there are conversations about rechanneling the COVID-19 levy into something like NHIS, or even the issue of, what was the word?
Dialysis.
Dialysis.
Well, let's be frank that even what we are paying, we don't know where the channels are going. Something like excise tax on tobacco and sugar sweetened beverages. The monies that are coming, where are they going? They are going into the consolidated fund. We don't know what amount has been earmarked for those non-communicable diseases. So first take it off. Then we can have a judge, or we can have a consultation. We can talk about it, that, okay, this is what we want to do with the money. So that when you are bringing another tax handle to ensure that it caters for emergencies, it caters for pandemics, we know that that is it. And we know how much money has gone in there at the end of the period. Look at the electronic levy, for instance. If I transfer money from my own account into a Momo, I'm being charged. The algorithm cannot say that, oh, this is my name and this is my number. When I transfer money from my account to a different account, so much amount of money is taken out. So the electronic levy itself, it has not been properly structured. What it's important is that in the regressive nature, it is always been transferred to the consumer, the end user, the one who is using it. Okay, so for me, that whole idea of scrubbing some I think we need a proper consultation around those conversations to ensure we take it to the next level. Secondly, on the issue about emission levy, that is going to be, for me, I think that kind of levy, we need a consultation, a proper consultation around it. It is not to scrap it because of the emerging issues of climate change. Because when you look at the green economy, a lot of things are shifting. And you might not want to scrap something that you have not done due diligence or proper consultation on. So there's a need for us to look at it from the angle where, I mean, all this mining, fossil fuel, that is the European Green Bond, for instance, have generated some 100 billion that is looking into new ideas when it comes to robotics, when it comes to issues, I mean, industries. This is something that we need to invest in. How do we ensure that the vessel that comes to Ghana, we are able to take some money from the fossil fuel usage to ensure that we pay for certain things off?
Rightly so, I know you have spoken at length, but I'm sure Mary has something to add on, even as we wrap up this conversation and conclude. And so how do you see the conversation about scrapping some of these taxes? How progressive or retrogressive are they? And what are some of the best practices global-wise that Ghana can learn if it wants to, you know, consolidate its fiscal issues, add on revenue generation, and better its progressive taxation regime? Okay. I'm giving the final words to you.
All right, sure. Thank you. So to start off, if you look at the NDC manifesto, resetting Ghana, they mentioned that within the first 100 days, they are going to scrap e-levy, COVID-19 recovery levy, and some other taxes. So counting from 7th of January,
when the president was sworn in.
Exactly. Ghanaians are eagerly waiting for that to happen. If you ask me from a personal perspective, of course, it's going to ease my pocket. So I'll say that, yes, let's go for it. However, I think the government also needs to be careful to ensure that the deficit that we have is not widened, because currently our expenditure, based on the 2024 budget, our expenditure is higher than our revenue and grants.
It has always been.
It has always been, exactly. So you wouldn't want to make the deficit even larger. So to implement this, there has to be some compensating measures to make sure that by scrapping these taxes, that deficit is not going to grow. That's the first. Now, the second one is, as we know, the e-levy was introduced basically to increase government's revenue mobilization efforts. There was a lot of public outcry when it came, and then it was subsequently reduced from the 1.5 to 1%. the 1%. So sometimes, so even though, based on our discussion, we've said that it's a regressive tax because it doesn't take into account how much revenue or how much income the person has. It's the same flat tax that applies to it. But also, sometimes we sacrifice, I would say, simplicity for progressive nature of tax. If you want to make it progressive, it's going to be a bit more complex, and administration and implementation is also going to be something else. So sometimes that's why we have that 1% rate applying to it. Now back to the question on best practices and what Ghana can do. If you look at the developed countries, some of their top contributors to revenue mobilization is PAYE.
Pay as you earn.
Pay as you earn, followed by VAT. And we also see that trend in the OECD countries. Given that Ghana is aiming to be a developed country, I believe, these are the two main taxes that we also need to be focusing on. And that seems to be the current trend. We seem to be on the right path because we have like 7 years for progressive taxation of our PAYE from 0% all the way to 35%. Which, if you look at it within the region, is not over the top, neither is it at the bottom. Some countries' marginal rate is 25%, which is at the lower end. Others are 45%, like South Africa. The Liberia one is 25%, which is at the lower. Tanzania has 30%. Kenya, I think, is about 35%. So we are within the middle, and it's not over the top. So we're actually on course. The next one is the VAT, which is another top contributor for the developed countries, which we currently have. But I think that the VAT system needs a bit of overhaul because it's currently operating between a VAT regime and a sales tax regime. But in most countries, they either implement a sales regime or a sales tax regime or the VAT regime. But currently, we are doing kind of a hybrid. So I think that there is a need to streamline it to make sure that if we are following the VAT system, we go fully with that. And then if we are going with the sales tax, we also, there's not much time for me to dwell into this, but let me
the series hasn't ended. There is more to come. So I'm hoping that we're going to have you again in another episode, depending on the topic, where you give us all the information that we need. But thank you so much, Mary. Thank you so much, Chineado. This has been another episode, the first, of course, of the Oxfam Tax Dialogue, the 2025 season on Channel 1 TV, as well as 97.3 Citi FM. My guest, Niado, Executive Director, Green Tax Youth Africa, as well as Mary Darko from the Society of Women in Taxation. She's also an Associate Director at PricewaterhouseCoopers, that's PwC. My name is Neil Ate. We are not done. We'll come your way some other time with another exciting and educative episode of the Oxfam Tax Dialogue. Thank you so much for watching and listening.
My girl, I can see all your joy. I can see the world.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
What if we told you that your next adventure is just a tap away? That's right. With Republic Bank Visa Credit Card, it's your time to win a staycation at some of Ghana's luxury beach resorts, 5-course dinner, a full-day spa service, or the ultimate, an all-expense paid trip to Dubai, the city of gold. Every tap brings you closer to winning in the Tap Win and Fly with Republic Bank promo. Whether it's Infinite, Adishi, or Classic Credit Card, just keep tapping to win. New customers are welcome. This promo is regulated by the National Lottery Authority on the Caritas Lottery platform. Terms and conditions apply. Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
There's no price like the ShopRite price. That's why we are committed to bringing you lower prices on all the essentials you need. Like 1 liter series 100% fruit juice, all variants for only 45 cedis, 99 pesos each. And 500 grams Good Start White Oats porridge for just 19 cedis, 99 pesos. Never pay more than the ShopRite price. Prices valid until 12 January. Only at ShopRite.
It's time to reset yourself and everything else around you for success in the new year. Tune in to the Effective Living Series 2025 this January on Channel 1 TV and 97.3 Citi FM. Start your year with insightful discussions and expert tips on personal growth, health, success, and more. From the 6th of January, join Apioko and Caleb Kuda engage our guests with various expertise on the Effective Living Series for a comprehensive guide to resetting your life in 2025. Week 1 kicks off with Personal Reset. Week 2 focuses on resetting your personal economy. Week 3 is all about resetting your health. Week 4, resetting business, calibrate, remodel, and rebuild. Catch the Effective Living Series live on the Citi Breakfast Show on 97.3 Citi FM and Breakfast Daily on Channel 1 TV, Monday through Thursday. Don't miss out on transforming your life for the better every week, only on Channel 1 TV and 97.3 Citi FM. The Effective Living Series 2025 is powered by Channel 1 TV and 97.3 Citi FM and is proudly sponsored by Hallmark Cafe. Hallmark Cafe, delight in every sip and bite.
The Citi Breakfast Show. Rise above the noise.
Hello and good morning, welcome on board. I am Bernard Abekootri and I'm here with the very latest from the world of sport. Thanks to Zonda GH and Polytank Ghana, Papa Nuni. Let's get into the details now. Our spokesperson for the National Democratic Congress Manifesto on Sport, Dr. Freddie Wah, has stated that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana, will not hesitate to reshuffle ministerial appointments, particularly in the sports ministry during his administration. His comments come amidst media speculations about potential candidates for the role, with former Youth and Sports Minister Edwin Elante van der Poel widely considered the front runner. Dr. Iwa assured that the Mahama administration will remain vigilant and take decisive action if challenges arise in the management of the sports sector, prioritizing effective leadership and accountability.
Now, to answer your question, I just reflect back on the Youth Manifesto launch at the University of Professional Studies, Accra. His Excellency said, and I want to remember his own words, that when he takes power, those who would be privileged to serve under his government, if you don't do well, he's not going to be lenient on you. Are we together? So it's a true reflection of a man who is committed to giving people opportunities, but also at the back of that opportunity, if you are not capable, you'll be shown the exit door, especially so when you are corrupt. Yeah. We can make inferences from his past administration. A lady was appointed a deputy minister. She did not steal money. Just the thoughts that if I get this amount of money, I'll stop being a minister. Just that got her fired. And within that sports sector, okay, there was an agency that a CEO who is of Northern extract, like His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, touched monies that he shouldn't touch. He landed up in prison. So it should tell you that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is a diligent person, and he will not tolerate anything that is inconsistent to the rules and regulations of our country, Ghana.
All right, let's move away from there now. Reports from the Office of the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, indicates that a request has been made to the Ghana Football Association for a report on the states of Ghana football. The report is expected to be a 75-page document that details works done by the Ghana Football Association in recent years, especially those concerning the Black Stars. Now, speaking of the Black Stars, former Ghana Black Stars coach James Kwesi has expressed his ambition to lead Sudan to victory at the 2025 African Cup of Nations in Morocco. The Guinean tactician will manage the Sudanese national team following an impressive outing in the qualifiers, where he took 4 points of Ghana.
No, by God's grace, we've qualified now. We'll prepare very well and make sure we get a very good team before the AFCON. And as I've said, any competition that we go in, or any game that we're playing, we will make sure we go in all out, make sure we get a victory. I don't believe in the idea of taking part in a competition and then at the back of your mind you think, oh, you might go out in the first round. Or no, once you're taking part, you aim for the cup. You don't aim at going in and coming out without nothing. Who knew that Ivory Coast will win this competition? They were almost out of the competition, but they came back to win the AFCON. So, and as I keep saying, football has come of age, and you can never underrate any team.
You heard from the former Black Stars head coach James Kwesi Appiah. Let's move to Kumasi now. Kumasi and Kotoko have announced the signing of experienced forward Samson Idoku on a 1.5-year deal following the successful completion of his medical examination. According to the Porcupine Warriors, the 29-year-old striker brings a wealth of experience to the club, having previously played for Samatex and Tamale City. Idoku was in a sensational form during the 2022-2023 season with Tamale City, scoring 14 goals and providing 4 assists. Let's travel to Europe now. David Moyes has held discussions with Everton's owners, the Fredkin Group, and could make a return to the club as early as this week after Sean Dyche was sacked on Thursday. Dyche paid a price for Everton's run of just 1 win from their last 11 games, leaving them a point above the Premier League relegation zone in 16th place. His sacking was confirmed just over 3 hours before Everton's FA Cup third round tie against Peterborough, with Leighton Baines and Seamus Coleman placed in interim charge. Let's wrap up with this. A Manchester United winger Amad Diallo has signed a new 5.5-year contract until June 2030. The 22-year-old's previous deal had been due to expire at the end of the season, though the club had the option of triggering a 12-month extension clause. But United have opted to hand fresh terms to the Ivorian international, who has scored 6 goals in 27 appearances this season. That's it for this morning's edition of Kickoff on the Citi Breakfast Show. We'll come your way later with more updates at 5 p.m. on the Traffic Avenue. Thanks to Zonda GH and Polytank Ghana, Papa Nunye. I am Bernard Abeku. Sport is life. Get involved.
Guys, Charlie, you know that mining contract I've been chasing for years now? I just got awarded the deal, but the issue is where to get the right and quality heavy-duty trucks to execute this job here in Ghana.
Relax, my guy. Remember my recent construction deal at Pokwase? Zonda sorted me out.
Zonda? What? Who is that?
Zonda Tech Ghana Limited is your one-stop shop for machinery, heavy and light-duty trucks, and pickups. They have the Shantui bulldozers, graders, payloaders, rollers, poor pickups, 4-land light trucks, TX trucks, and oil tanks. Made and assembled right here in Ghana with top-notch after-sales service and standard prices.
Made in Ghana. This is amazing.
You haven't seen my Zonda Power pickup, which I take to the office. Strong, durable, and tough on our roads.
Hey, that's from Zonda too?
Absolutely. Zonda is the right place for you, my guy.
Oh, now I am sorted with Zonda. Zonda Tech Ghana Limited, your solution for heavy and light-duty trucks. Located at Tema, off the Flower Road. Call 0501 772 222 or 0501 773 333. Zonda, built in Ghana, building Ghana.
Join the conversation on the Citi Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi 97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi 973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi 973 with the hashtag CitiCBS.
Yafini gave us the vibe. Now, Inshona Chili makes you thrive.
Yes, so it's time to enjoy, Charlie. Buy or renew your motor insurance and boom! Free fuel coupons and airtime for your sweat. Who know like enjoyment?
From January to June 2025, Enterprise Insurance gives you more reasons to smile on the road. Insure today and enjoy free fuel coupons for your car and airtime for your phone.
Free fuel? Airtime too? Hey! Enterprise Insurance, always your advantage.
Inshona Chile. It's simple. Insure and enjoy. Ready to secure your peace of mind and experience the fastest claims payment? Visit any of our branches or agency outlets nationwide. Connect with your insurance broker or enjoy the convenience of buying your insurance online through the Enterprise Advantage app today. Terms and conditions apply.
Enterprise, your advantage.
It's back to school and ShopRite has everything you need to get ready for 2025. Save on school essentials with deals like a Cascade lunchbox and bottle set, all variants only $27.99 each, and a 36cm Badger Junior Brazilian Kids backpacks, all variants just $99.99 each. Save more with back to school low prices. Valid until 12 January 2025. ShopRite, lower prices you can trust. Always.
Baby, first bank,
you're looking for a bank to rely on. Let me give you a shoulder to lie on. Wouldn't we seek out to bank if it no lie? Only one place where I get my eye on. Make I introduce you all to First Bank, the best services in the world, first rank. Customer service, everything is well planned. I make music, I travel, I sell land. They be my reserve tank. Cause every time I know my money's safe. Universal banking ain't in me here the date. I'm a busy person, me no many time to wait. Now I got to Spain, even when I'm in the States. My me blue shirt. Me tell me office a chilly, but who cares? Cause I bank with the best. I'm lucky, I'm too blessed. When it comes to First Bank, it's too west. Everything is you first. Woo!
Nobody feed do I'm like us. Do I'm like us. First Bank we treat you first. Treat you first. Somebody see yeah. Think about you first. Think about you first.
You first. First Bank.
Auntie T, abeg, fix me gobetete Ghana. No gari, no oil, no plantain, just beans then eggs.
Hey, brah, that be dangerous combination, no?
Problem no day. I feel handle am.
For Telecel, we the Bob say everybody gets what they like. That be why Made For Me bundles day. Based on your usage, you fit get your own data and call packages. Fala! Made For Me bundles like the way you the want town. That *530#, then buy Made For Me bundles today.
Telecel, connecting energies.
This ad is not about how convenient or easy to use the Affinity app is, or not having to worry about monthly or transaction fees. Yes, banking without fees. This ad is about Affinity providing the necessary services to help grow your business. Because banking doesn't have to be an inconvenience. With Affinity, you're in. To get the app, dial *229# or go to affinityghana.com.
It's back to school and ShopRite has everything you need to get ready for 2025. Save on school essentials with deals like 5 Penflex Clear Medium Blue Ballpoint, only $29.99 per pack. And a 192 pages Scholar A4 counter book, just $34.99 each. Save more with back to school low prices. Valid until 12 January 2025. ShopRite. Lower prices you can trust. Always.
Imagine waking up in a beautiful home you can call your own, or watching the value of the plot of land you invested in grow year after year. This 2025, Apollonia City is inviting you to start the year right by making a smart investment in property. Apollonia City offers high-quality real estate that is ever appreciating. At Apollonia City, the value is not just your home or land. It is also the area that surrounds it. Tarred roads with safe speed limits, drainage for even the most punishing floods, and neighborhood planning that ensures your view will never change. Choose any of our serviced or semi-serviced plots or any of our beautifully crafted homes and enjoy up to a 3-year payment plan. Call us on 0275 577 577 or 0542 777 222 and let's help you start the year right.
Ho, ho, ho! Now you know how I get to you with Super Joy. Super XP, that's what fuels my rounds. I get value for money, enjoy smooth rides, and it takes me further. I wish you safe drives and a Super XP Christmas. Ho, ho, ho! Here we go!
Celebrate with Go Super XP and enjoy our excellent range of Go products in the festive season. Goil Good Energy. Show your dear energy.
Join the conversation on the Citi Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag CitiCBS.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Unleashing the power of radio. This is Citi 97.3. It's your touch and as
Zentia. Matima dream na mafamu wa benzina. Ukonda kayo ada. Sadafu biriba naji. Isi muna tante na za adami maya udendo. Adako adi mi amana burizuntina udendo. Isi otacho na Zentia. Matima dream na mafamu wa benzina. Ukonda kayo ada. Sadafu biriba naji.
6 minutes past 8, 97.3 Citi FM. And you had Bernard. A big watcher with kickoff. Happy birthday to my good friend Chonam Cleanse Akpelu. Chonam Cleanse Akpelu. He's the Great Accra Regional Chairman of the AGI. Chonam, happy birthday to you. Live long, prosper. Kickoff was brought to us by Zonda Ghana, your one-stop shop for quality trucks, Chantry bulldozers, excavators, graders, payloaders, and pickups and more. We do not only create opportunities and empower people, we also provide top-notch after-sales service for all your heavy and light-duty trucks. Call 0501 772 222. Zonda, built in Ghana, building Ghana. And make the holidays unforgettable. Treat your family and friends to a celebration at the African Regent Hotel. Join us daily to enjoy delightful welcome drinks, mouth-watering delicacies, and soothing melodies in a relaxed atmosphere throughout the festive season at an unbeatable offer. Take advantage of our special holiday accommodation for a complete getaway experience. Call or WhatsApp Africa Regent on 026826536. You can email us at mkt@african-regenthotel.com. And dear valued customers, Zenith Bank is wishing you a happy new year. As we welcome 2025, we extend our heartfelt appreciation and our loyalty to you for your support. We remain steadfast in our commitment to providing innovative banking solutions and delivering exceptional service that exceed your expectations. Let's make this year an extraordinary year together. Zenith Bank, in your best interest. And the enjoyment is real. From January to June 2026, Enterprise Insurance is giving you more reasons to smile. Buy or renew your existing motor insurance policy and enjoy amazing rewards, free fuel coupons for your car, and airtime for your phone. With over 100 years of trusted experience, we are here to secure your peace of mind. Visit any branch, connect with your insurance agent or broker, or use the Enterprise Advantage app for convenience and enjoy free fuel coupons. Enterprise, your advantage.
So whether you're sending money to Gambia, Guinea, Liberia, Nigeria, or Sierra Leone, it is so easy now through the Pan-African Payment and Settlement Systems PAPS. All you need in order to send money is to visit the First Bank Ghana branch nationwide with your cash and your money is transferred. To receive money, you would need an account with First Bank Ghana. Call 0596 921 921 to find out more. Now switch to Telecel Fixed Broadband today and experience incredible bonuses, no expiry bundles, data transfers across devices, and lots more. New customers get 50% bonus data in addition to other mind-blowing offers, and exciting customers receive existing customers receive 300% bonus data on every broadband renewal to keep browsing. So subscribe to the Telecel Fixed Broadband, dial star 900 hash or use the Telecel Play app. Visit Telecel retail outlet www.telecel.com.gh to get connected. Telecel, connecting energies.
Hey, tell me about Bisame.
Bisame says it's time to maximize and grow your business exponentially.
All right.
What do you, Bisame? If you're a shop owner, seamstress, trader, mechanic or artisan, hotel or hospital owner, if you have a TV, car, house, or any property to sell, the Bisame app is here to help you connect to your customers. All you need to do is register your business, reach more customers, and watch your sales soar. With the Bisame app, your security is also assured. Locate the item you want to buy from any social media platform. Inform Bisame. The seller is called to bring the item to your office for inspection before you make payment. With our in-app video calls, Bisame app gives you more safety. So download Bisame app on Google Play App Store or the App Store today and unlock endless possibilities. Grow your business, connect with customers, and enjoy success with ease.
All right, so yesterday the president wrote to the Speaker of Parliament with 3 nominations. The Minister Designate for Energy is in the person of the MP for Yape Kusou, John Abdullahi Jenapo. The Minister Designate for Finance is the MP for Ejumako Enyane Siam, Kasiel Atuforsen. The Minister Designate for Attorney General and Minister of Justice is MP for Bolgatanga East in the person of Dominic Ayine. What do these 3 reveal about the president's mind? Is 3 enough to tell us what he's going to do? That's our main discussion for the day. Some very interesting interactions in Parliament. But before I go there, Sky, yesterday I went to visit some people at Botiano. My God.
Hey, that road is bad, or is it better now?
No, I mean, it's very early in the year to start talking about roads and things, but I just wanted to serve notice that whoever is going to be the road minister will have a lot of things to be saying this because I was myself, the place was very close to Bojo Beach, which is a tourist attraction. And I said, a country that is serious about tourism will not have the kind of road that leads to Bojo Beach. Do you get it? If you're really serious about building tourism, you need a better road. Of course, the house itself, the place I went was not Bojo Beach. It was like there's this go-karting center, that area, Aplaku something. And I was wondering how people who live there, where they work, because the road is not even level, and it's very undulating. So I think it's a hilly place.
Yeah.
So to have a hilly place with no level, and then you basically have gutters now being done. I mean, Charlie, people they hustle for Accra.
It's been raining recently too, so then it means that the experience would have been worsened.
The place I went, if let's assume you're working at Abraka, you will need a motorbike. If you don't have a car, you need a motorbike to take you from the house to the main road. Then from the main road, and from the house to they call that Tamils Road.
Yeah.
So you need a motorbike from wherever you live to the Atamils Road, and then maybe a taxi from the Atamils Road to the main Kaswa Road.
One of our colleagues lives there, moved there recently.
Who's this?
He's always filing reports on it. He always comes to work tired.
No, Sky, people look. Whoever will be, yesterday the minority that was mentioning names, Charlie Road. We need a new idea on roads. Something has to be given. Like it's Sky.
Yep.
Accra. Do you know why I was shocked? I hadn't gone to Bojo Beach in almost 10 years. That area.
Oh, okay.
The place has developed so fast. Those times I used to go there, I used to drive on that road and you see Salastete's houses. By the time you get there, before you see one, look, there were houses everywhere, big mansions, stores, kiosks. The place has become densely populated, but the road is so bad.
Horrifying.
Accra has become so big, So whoever is going to become the road minister needs to really start thinking about a new way of financing roads. Honestly, it's going to be, because I don't know.
If what we hear is anything to go by, it most likely go to the current majority chief whip,
who was a ranking member on the roads committee. Well, then he knows what he knows his work.
He's a brilliant mind in that space. Worked in the UK for so many years.
He's an architect.
Yeah, and his understanding of the space is to a large extent unmatched.
No, what I'm asking is, I don't have a problem with that. What I'm saying is that whoever gets that job needs to know that
the creative space.
You see, our development has gotten to a point where our current financing model is unsustainable. So that then the government needs to think about new ways of delivering.
Yep.
Because if I live at Aplaku, I mean, how are you going to work?
People come from even further down, you know, all the that road can connect you.
A place called Chokome. Chokome.
Yeah,
How? Chokome one stick.
There must be a reason.
No, Charlie.
Maybe they borrowed it from the Anglo people.
Why?
Anglo Kuchako. Nakachi the Kano Juma being.
Well, I'm not sure they borrowed it. I'm sure they have their own Chokome. I'm sure we all have their own, whatever. But Sky, for me, right, yesterday just dawned on me that the demands of urban life and the model we've used for development is not sufficient. And I've said things around DACF not being able to generate enough money for the development that we need. And there needs to be a new model. So, for example, I saw big mansions on the road to where I was going to. Hotels, nursing training schools, event centers. And I'm asking myself, who runs this space? I didn't even know who the MC was.
No, there are no MCs supposed now. All of them have been fired.
But that's the problem. I didn't even know who the previous MC was.
Okay.
To manage a space of that size, there should be something you're doing that will catch us. It's a big place, and I'm not even saying this to indict him. I'm just trying to say that, you see, people are looking for work, and a lot of people are asking for lobbying for ministers. Honestly speaking, right, I think in our next 10 years, the most important people will be our DCs and our MCs. And I'll explain. See, a minister has only oversight for policy direction, right? If you look at what I saw at Chokome, a place that has developed in leaps and bounds in the past 10 years, the person who governs that space needs to think about how do we convert all this real estate into some sort of workable revenue model to bring development at the local level. And it's not a local government minister's work, it's not a regional minister's work. So maybe I'm coming back into our talk, but I'm going to say this, that those who are sending CVs, because we are told they are sending CVs, maybe they should send the CVs for MCE work. Maybe that's because if you really want to change, if your objective is to change Ghana, and you believe you are talented, you are gifted, and you are from the party that won the election, then maybe apply for MCE for your area, go through a vetting, come up with a model that will transform the area. And I think that's the future for the country.
They don't apply.
Okay, submit your CV.
They don't apply.
So you know what I'm saying? You see, Federal Republic, I'll give you an example. In Nigeria, Lagos used to be big and crazy. Alright. Of course, the capital was partly moved to Abuja. But we all admit that. In fact, even before you went there to do that your BRT thing, when Babatunde Fashola, indeed, the current president of Nigeria, he used to be the Lagos governor. I am told that it was under his tenure that Lagos began to get a grip. Then he became the godfather who then appointed people like Fashola to run Lagos. And we've seen some change in the space. All right. So if by the time Tinubu ran for president, he had already said, look, you see what, in fact, I listened to an interview of Tinubu, he said, when I came to Lagos, we were making losses. I did it. He basically pointed to all his achievements in Lagos. And people couldn't contest that. So what I'm trying to say is that beyond building a political pathway to presidency, our country needs a new model for local government. And I think that some of the people who may be disappointed with not getting ministerial positions, I think they should throw their hat into the MCE ring. Because if you can transform a space and we can all see it, do you get my point? It should be a good place for you to show your mettle. You don't need to be a minister. Go and take your locality assembly work and do it. If you can do it well, your locality will say, when Mr. Sky was MCE, our roads were better, our markets were functioning, crime came down, our health facilities were working, our schools were doing better. Even though he was collecting some new money from us as local too, we can see the benefit. So this is a model to use. I think that's where we should focus our attention on. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a great suggestion, and we have said these things in the past. The only difficulty is whether people would find a creative space in their mind to make the assemblies resourceful. Because the current models don't allow for a lot of capital investment to be made by the assemblies themselves. Everything still comes from the center to a large extent. Because many of the assemblies, as you do know, already put their hands in between their tires and wait for what would happen from the district assembly's common fund. And then in some cases, some people who come in to make investments here and there. what you are calling for, which I identify with, is a DC and MC who says that, look, let me go out there and push for investment to be directed our way. So if you go to other countries, the mayors are out there competing for resources so that investment will come into their districts, will come into their cities. The question is, why are we not leading that? We saw that happen at some point during the change era, where there were even much earlier, where there were talks of municipal bonds and all of these things, so that the assemblies themselves can, on the basis of their own balance sheet, to a large extent, can go out there, look for funding, and come and prosecute agenda that will be consistent with meeting the requirements and the needs of the people. But you have seen what appointments we have done over the last 8 years or so, where we said the tripod, we said, and all kinds of people who, to a large extent, did not have enough creative space to do things the way we are calling for, found themselves.
So are you saying that beyond the quality of the people, if the system is not reformed to allow the MCE to work, he may not be able, or she may not be able to do much?
Yeah, that's right. Because
so what needs to change? Is it the financing model or what?
I think when the likes of the respected Professor Ahoy and then the Rawlingses were putting this concept together, they had clearly in their mind what they wanted to achieve with it, ensuring that the local people, they understood their problems better. They want certain things fixed, and they want those decisions to be made by they themselves, not from the center. In deepening that, then we should allow the DCs and the local assemblies to make their own decisions. Instead of funding from the center, we can decentralize truly as to ensure that the resources go directly to them. The constitutional amendments that we are talking about should also have we should have a second look at the provisions dealing with the local assemblies and the district assemblies common fund. But bigger than that is also ensuring that assemblies go on their own balance sheet to get money to come and do the investment. But that would require that they are responsible truly in how they spend the money. Because you don't want people going to get all kinds of funding, coming to disburse it recklessly. So there's no accountability.
So the question to you is, will that reform depend on the local government minister? Will it depend on the president's own vision for local governance? What would it take to unclog what you consider, or we all consider to be a dysfunctional local governance system, or a below par? Is it Parliament that's going to do this work? Is it the President who's going to lead this reform?
You see, the President's vision matters because it is his ego which would drive many of these things. But where the President is not so much looking in that direction, then you would expect a minister who is, if you like, progressive, thinking of how to truly make Ghana work, the reset that we're talking about. Take that agenda to the various departments under his ministry, get the necessary input, then go to cabinet and persuade the president to understand that, look, this is necessary. If you actually want to succeed, if you want to stop people from moving to their communities to Accra all the time, we have Accra is now too big to contain itself. If we want to stop that and we want to ensure equal development across the country, then we need to empower these local assemblies to do more, to develop their own spaces. And if that happens, then you would see the appropriate legislative efforts go to Parliament. And the right thing would be done.
But we've seen situations in the past where regional secretaries of parties rise to become the mayor or the NADMO this, NADMO that. I do not know if originally people like that have expertise in, say, city planning. Because if you are a municipal authority chief, I'm expecting that you have an understanding of spatial planning. You can predict what traffic flow is. So some knowledge in how to plan cities. So like we're saying, if the qualification for rising to key positions that affect us, how we move, how we organize, how we live our life, is your rise in a party, that you're a general secretary at the regional level, then we are going to have this problem. Because I think that even within the political parties, there are people who have the expertise in city planning. There are people who are basically the experts are there. We have them.
But I think part of the challenge is that some of them may see DC as a demotion.
Yes.
So one of the things I'm trying to do with this program is to pitch DC to them. You see, because all of this, President said plenty of people are sending CV, and he's only going to give system ministers. Obviously, there are hundreds of people who want to be ministers. Now, Sky, imagine if a former minister, with all his experience, goes back to his community and becomes the DC. He may say, oh, it's a demotion, but I think that if we want to develop the country, we must start putting some of our best people on the ground. And do you know why? And let me extend this argument for 1 second. The NDC as a political party, one of the reasons they won this election was that they said in the past, they've not put some of their best people on the ground at the polling station to make sure that the right thing is done. So you notice this time around, some highly senior people, including former ministers, were polling agents and things.
Yeah.
Right? What does that mean? You need quality throughout the chain for development to come. Now, if you need that to win an election, why do you think in governance you don't need to put your best foot forward? So if you can put a former MP as a police station agent in Botiano to just make sure that the pink sheet is filled properly, don't you think that if you have some former ministers, some former DCs who have, because I think experience is important in this area, who have the experience and the expertise to say, look, the vision for Ghana requires a bottom-up approach to governance. So, whilst we'll give these guys minister positions, Atufosin, yes, Minister of Finance, all these guys, get some quality guys, MC, DCE, Mayor. You will begin to see improvement in the local community. And I think that's where the future of the country lies.
You see, while that argument is ideal in many respects, it also sort of overlooks the progression, the natural progression that all politicians, aspire to have. If I was a minister in a former administration, the natural progression is either I'm a minister again or I'm elevated to a higher status. Because really, what do I aspire to want to get to? Probably become president someday, or probably become a globally significant ambassador, something that matters. Of course, these people also made investments, which investments drove the party to ultimately succeed. Some of them sacrificed their businesses, some of them sacrificed their homes, properties, things they owned previously, and they would expect that at a certain level they are able to influence so much so as to recoup some of the investments they have made, beyond saying we are solving the country's problems. Because as the good old book says, nobody goes to war at his own expense, right? Now if you stretch that, people don't make political investments just so they can become things that do not matter. It is great to have the very best of hands at those levels, but knowing many of the politicians as I know them, this is not something that a former minister would ideally aspire to want to handle.
That's why I'm making it a pitch. You see, this thing I'm saying, it goes beyond. It's not a normal thing.
Yeah, it's abnormal.
I agree that, but we are not in normal times. So what I'm trying to say is that the election that Mahama was not a normal election in terms of the weight. I mean, how many people have won a 2/3 majority in parliament in our lifetime? Okay, the kind of mandate is being given, and the fact that it's coming for a one term as a president. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that this is like a reset, some of arrangement. This is not your permanent arrangement, because I understand your point. Like, look, there's a certain progression, but if you look at the way our spaces have developed, and people say, oh, the DC doesn't have to be technically sound and everything. Look, we've done debates here where we've gone to China and said, look, the average governor or the average municipal head in some of these countries, they have a lot of experience and they have a lot of range. Okay, so for me, if somebody doesn't have a certain level of range, you see, people say, well, the leader doesn't have to be an engineer. I'm not saying go and make an engineer an MC or go and make a doctor. What I'm saying is that make a person. So let me give you a typical example. Okay, I don't want to mention somebody to jinx it, but Sky, if you take a politician who's been maybe a former MP or former MC of a certain level, he's a professional. He's a professional. Maybe he's a professional architect or a professional lawyer. He's MP for 4 years. He's gone back to work in his field, but he has experience because he's reflected on how things work, how things didn't work.
Those have happened in the past.
Good. I am saying that in the same way that
no.
So give me 2 seconds. You said the president is appointing former deputy ministers as ministers. So clearly he is doing a certain progression. John Jinapo, deputy to minister, Kazia, deputy, and I think he can also decide that for the MCA level, I will move some of my experienced hands there to support at the local level, because the work is on the ground. Agronomy firm. Okay, so that for one term, the progression of all these new guys who want to get the DC position, they have to wait for a while, because we have a unique urbanization problem. We have a unique challenge where the money at the center is not enough to go around. I've said, for example, that Accra, Tema, Tamale, Kumasi can purely be run on IGF. Send the money to K2 North, to Anglo, and send it to Bulusa South.
Why are you not mentioning K2 South? Why are you interested in only your space?
Okay, but if you see my but you see my logic, because see, Sky, if you look at Accra, even if we divide Accra into 10, the revenue generation potential of Accra is so massive. Kumasi, massive. Tamale, relatively good. Instead of sharing with some formula and tell the real deprived communities that you are the guys who don't have resources, you need a certain level of experience to run Accra like that. So, for example, if you have Accra run by an experienced person who has a plan for revenue mobilization, spatial planning, mobility, he will be able to raise enough money to run it.
Yeah, you see, while that is valid, running Accra is no longer as meaningful as it used to be, because, as you do know, we have cannibalized the whole system, and we've cut it into all manner of shapes and pieces, hoping that we'll create more jobs for people. London is run by one mayor,
and London is bigger than Accra.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole, the whole of New York.
Yeah,
has his own,
It's a governor.
Yeah, a governor running it with,
And then there's a New York City mayor.
City mayors running things. Look, majority of the times we are only thinking about rewarding people who put their efforts into the campaign. And
you think that's why they sliced Accra into small?
Of course, there is no meaningful reason why we should have done that. We could still have kept Accra the way it was, Kumasi the way it was.
Do you think Mahama should reverse that? Can he do it?
It would take a lot of kahunas.
Because the people on the ground will not be happy.
Yeah, that's why they will not be
But can't they see that they are being left behind?
Well, they don't see it like that.
Oh, Sky.
People think of holding posts, first of all.
When you go to Dar es Salaam, you go to Nairobi, Accra is not doing that. Accra has potential. Accra has massive potential. But as you're saying, if you have a proper model, Accra can be solid. And you think that because of convenience of posts, people will not agree for the president to bring back?
No, they won't agree.
So, like, bring back Uku Van Der Poel?
They won't agree.
They won't?
I don't see that.
Which people? The political poll or the normal?
The political, because everybody is jostling for position. He has DCE as a first timer, he's cool. Or former MP, he gets his DCE position or MC position. Yes, he can fight back to Parliament from there. That's how they do it. So they want to relaunch from district chief executive position or MCE position and get back to Parliament. So hoping that the progression would resume from there. So while we have all of these idealistic, viewpoints as to how we can move the city forward and related cities forward, the challenge is almost always, the likely pushback that you see from the political.
Hold that thought. I want to develop that thought further. By the way, listeners, do you agree with me? I'm saying that the president said thousands of CVs have come to him, and I'm saying that they should direct the CVs to local governance and DCU work. If they have experience, we need them at the local level, not as ministers. That's my first proposal.
At least you can take 160 appointments out of 1,000.
Yes, and my second proposal is that for local governance to work, there has to be some local governance reform, which may include reversing the pizzarization of Accra and Kumasi into sub-metros which are not functional units. So you may have to have a bigger center. Number 3 proposal is that big cities don't need to be given money. They can use IGF. Let people apply for the job and say, if you are going to be mayor of Accra, come up with a plan to say, all the things I'm doing can pay for itself. We'll collect property rate, we'll collect traffic toll, we'll collect everything we need to collect to run the city. We don't need you to give us any money. Send the money to the rural areas. Right? So 3 proposals in one. Caleb, let's pay some bills. I really want to develop this idea. Whilst we also look at what the president's first 3 appointments tell us about where his mind is. Right, so those are the two issues for the morning. Caleb, what is Affinity?
Bernard, Affinity app helps people to get loans accessible and affordable. No monthly fees, no transactions, zero fees basically. So if you're imagining banking where you don't have to keep an eye on those extra charges sneaking in, that's Affinity we are talking about. It's for people like you, the ones with big plans, small businesses, side projects, or just the drive to make things happen. Affinity is all about giving you the right tools to keep your banking simple and help you grow. So it's not just a bank. You are joining a community that's on your side. If that sounds like something you would want to be a part of, it's easy. Just dial *229# to get the app, or check out affinityghana.com. With Affinity, you're not just banking, you're in.
And I have exciting news for University of Ghana students. Prudential Bank makes fee payment easy. University of Ghana students can conveniently pay fees by dialing UGSSD code or UG's USSD code. That's *772*100#, or they can go to UG Online's payment portal. Now, African students can make their payments through the PAPs. So whether you're Nigerian, Guinean, Gambian, or wherever, you can use the PAPs to pay from your own country using your own currency. And then you can open an account at Prudential Bank and receive a free MasterCard. All right. So call Prudential on 0551 858585. That's 0551 858585. Visit prudentialbank.com.gh. Prudential Bank, truly dependable. And GRA is reminding us that by 15th of every month the tax filing is on. Withholding taxes for VAT deducted from supplies, employment, payment for supply of goods, payment for supply of works, payment for supply of services, all due by Wednesday 15th January. So you can submit hard and soft copies of schedules indicating gross amount and all other details. Please make sure you do this before the date, 15th January. Go to taxpayersportal.com or call 0200 631 664. We'll read a few comments. I'll invite Samens into the discussion. What we are trying to do is two things. What does the first batch of nominations by President Mahama reveal about where his mind is? Number two, he said he is receiving, or people are submitting thousands of CVs. He's only going to give 60 ministerial positions. Should some experienced people be now deployed to do local government work, since the work is not really at the ministry, the work is on the ground? I'll come to the summons on that point. Caleb, what are people saying on this matter?
Good morning, Bernard and team. The volume of refuse all over the capital is appalling. From Kwashiman to La Paz, you see heaps of refuse piled up on the pavement along the road. This is Kofi from Kaswa. He's not happy. Good morning, Bernard. The Atta Mills bypass is in a better state now. That road made me lose a deal. It was a rainy day and the main road was choked. From Kokrobite to Old Barrier, it took me 4 hours. The Atta Mills bypass is the only alternative route from Kaswa to Ghana, yet it is so bad. George from Airport Center through. Jones Adoboy from Lasses. Good morning, Bernard. Yes, Mahama may have promised to appoint 60 ministers, but haven't finally been open to the realities. He could just approximate it to 70. Bernard, you're right. A well-meaning individual will aspire to make an impact on the system. In the UK, an ex-Prime Minister David Cameron became a foreign minister under his prodigy Rishi Sunak. That's foresight and vision. Thank you, Bernard, for escalating our problem. At Old Botiano, development has eluded us for so long a time, spanning Old Barrier all the way to Kokrobite. That stretch is the only bypass from Kaswa toll booth to Wager. The more reason we kicked Sylvester Tete out, because he failed woefully. Kwesi unfilled from Wager Sender through. Good morning, team. This division is the reason why they divided the regions too. Yet no development to show. Kafui from Asesewa Sender through. Bernard.
So I've come up with 3 suggestions. Send some of the CVs to the people who are vetting for DC and give them the work. Change the structure of the system so that there's effective deconcentration and fiscal decentralization. Stop slicing and dicing the cities into smaller, meaningless sub-metros. Build strong, viable local government entities that don't require central support. Let them be self-financing using IGF, and send some experienced people there, because we don't stand the chance of development with the current development model. We don't generate enough money at the top. And having your best people as ministers alone is not enough. Sky, you seem to agree with me, but with a caveat. Sometimes I definitely think you agree with my point. You definitely agree with me, don't you?
Of course.
You
We've
do
said
agree
this
with me.
many times. You know, I've always wondered whose idea it was to balkanize the whole district assembly thing. You know, I think somebody was thinking that it would be in order to make it more efficient. So let's, if like, cut it in pieces so that we can be more effective. But years down the line, we see what we have done to ourselves. Even with that, it wasn't well thought through. And again, the quasi-independence of these sub-metros is their undoing. Okay, so clearly that hasn't worked. We can talk about the mode of recruiting the heads of these institutions. For me, whether it's by voting, whether it's by recruitment, whether open recruitment, whether it's by appointment, the most important thing is to have an effective monitoring or performance system that can, you know, identify the red flags if things are not going well. So I don't want us to be battling over the mode, whether it should be
vote or appointment.
I mean, if you are voted and we have the metrics of how you should perform and you don't do it well, there must be a way of removing you.
Exactly. So whether you are voted or appointed, we need to know whether you are working or not.
Exactly.
Okay.
You understand? Now, when people get into it, knowing that they can be removed, they are more careful and cautious. Okay. Now, you talked about the first 3 appointments. If I can go there.
Yes, let's go there.
Now, President Mahama has done this on the basis of his prior experiences as a president, as a vice president. You understand? So he knows all the functions of government, and he knows which ones have shorter transition allowance. Okay, so finance cannot have a long transition allowance.
We can't wait.
We can wait. Now, why energy? Because the energy is so sensitive to the stability of the economy, and so
it has to be prioritized.
It has to be prioritized. And which one?
AG.
The third one, AG. I mean, that goes without saying.
Yes.
You understand? So it makes a lot of sense that
he brought
these
the first 3
have come, and I'm sure that in the next couple of days we are going to have education.
Stay with that point. I want to ask you, so what about the people he chose and the way they all were, you know, it was Sky who pointed this out to me, I didn't even know. All 3 were deputy ministers in the first 10, in his previous administration, in the same sectors. And so it seems as if he's using some methodology.
Well, I mean, it may not be enough to establish a trend. It's just 3. What I would say is that, you know, we can also, you see, for us to, if like, extend this conversation, we would want to wait whether he's going to appoint every deputy minister into a ministerial position. It's not going to happen.
Then we'll see.
It's not going to happen. But we should ask the question whether they delivered their mandate when they were deputy ministers. And I think that to a large extent
all 3 did.
And so obviously to give them this upgrade goes without question.
So let's go back to the point about pressure and CVs. Okay, because I'm saying this because before he appointed these 3, you notice that he listed about 6 people who were supposed to be now working with this office, and these are more senior people. So Julius Debra, Marietta Brew, Guzitano, Prosper Bani. These people are all working with him, and a lot of these guys were ministers in his previous government.
But let me say to you that all these persons that he has mentioned are people who have worked with him closely while he's been in opposition.
So that's why they are still back with him in.
I mean,
but they are also much senior to these guys who were named as ministers.
No, of course.
So I'm trying to say something. I'm trying to say that could it be that he's also doing a change of guard, where he's saying some of the more senior people who worked with me will now necessarily will not be ministers, and I'm now going to use the second generation.
That's a possible strategy, but again, we would have to wait till all the full complement of the appointment for us to conclude.
Okay,
you get me?
Some of us don't want to wait. I'll show you something.
No, I'm just saying.
I'm coming. Don't worry. Yesterday, the minority that did some mischief. I'm going to play the mischief for you. Then we'll continue the discussion. Because yesterday, on the floor of Parliament, he basically listed the whole of cabinet because he was taunting the government side to say, why is Mahama releasing the list 3 by 3? Then, he mentioned about 10 names of people that he believes are going to be given posts on the floor of Parliament. So let's listen to him, and then maybe we can use that to see where we are going. So yesterday, MP for Efutu and minority leader Alexander Penyoma-King,
star boy,
Charlie,
the man is going to be a star boy.
He was mentioning names of people, and the people were laughing.
And you could see that he's enjoying himself.
Is that opposition is not necessarily bad?
Communications to the House must first be known to the House before it gets into the media. This House should not be a secondary recipient of that which is its bona fide. I do not appreciate the fact that a statement will be issued when Parliament has not already received the communication. Parliament should be the first to receive the communication before it gets out into the media. And that was the position taken by Right Honorable Speaker. So I would want to draw attention of the executive to this matter, especially when the acting spokesperson of the executive is one of our own, my own respected colleague, Felix Sofozukwakye, very, very resilient guy. He doesn't fall easily. He knows his stuff, and he knows what he's about when he's doing his politics. I respect him for that. Mr. Speaker, the second observation is the fact that the second observation is the fact that when the names were read out by Mr. Speaker, he read out only 3 names: the finance minister designate, the energy minister designate, and the attorney general and minister of justice designate. Mr. Speaker, this thought appointment is unacceptable. When at the rate of the ministers, you must be ready. We want to hear Ama Kofi Bua. We want to hear Agric. We want to hear Agric ministry. Honorable Erikopoku.
Honorable leader.
Honorable Erikopoku.
Honorable minority leader.
We want to hear Agric ministry. We want to hear roads and highways.
Honorable minority leader.
We want to hear lands and natural resources.
Honorable minority leader.
Education. Mr. Speaker,
I recognize the deputy leader on his feet. Deputy leader, are you on point of order? Deputy leader, are you on point of order?
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, my brother, my respected minority leader, the former majority leader who has led our friends to that side, has been talking a lot lately. We've been indulging him because we understand this difficult transition. And we believe that we should allow him to basically bring out all the pains of losing. But we want to remind him that his responsibility is to ensure that the business of this house flows. We are working on votes and proceedings, and he's expected to make brief comments if he has to. We are not debating what we are going through. I thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I can see the incoming majority leader and his deputy conferring. And I've just also heard, those of us in opposition, we know more things than those of you in government. So if you ask me, I can tell you, all of you, where you are going. But you don't know. That is how it is. When I know Ama Kofi Bua is going to land. Yeah, you are going to land. Are you scared? Nobody will stop it. If destiny has it for you, you will get it. Why are you scared? Kwame Abuja is going to roads and highways. Yeah, we know Ahmed Ibrahim is going to local government. And a lot of you will remain at the back bench.
Honorable Leader. Honorable Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Achampo, Mr. Speaker, he has done so well. Yes. I will be surprised if he's not sent to the Ministry of Finance as deputy. I will be surprised. I will be surprised. And Dr. Park is definitely going to education as deputy education minister. Mr. Speaker, we know. That's why I know Honorable Ayariga is going to assume the black chair. And his deputy is my good friend, Kweku Rickett. Because, yes, Kweku is going to be the deputy minority leader. And, Mr. Speaker, once again, majority of them will remain at the back bench.
Honorable Minority Leader.
Anyway, Mr. Speaker.
The issue before the House is whether the adjournment should be on the 16th or 21st.
That is so.
With all due respect.
Mr. Speaker, my good friend, Honorable Abuja, he knows the practice of the House. You can't just come to the floor to make an announcement. You know it. You normally engage. Now you see, Abuja, you see. Mr. Speaker, Abuja today is begging me. Mr. Speaker, Abuja is begging. Mr. Speaker, the firm put the incoming chief whip. You see, you are coming. We know you are coming. Mr. Speaker, Kwame is begging me. What he did to me when I was there, Abuja Panye. Mr. Speaker, time changes. I won't do that to him because I know 2020 now I will be there. So, Mr. Speaker, I will be magnanimous. I will oblige him. Though he didn't consult me, I will oblige him.
Honorable Minority Leader, did I hear you say 2039?
No, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, where you are, you cannot join the debate. Mr. Speaker, I said, Mr. Speaker, I said 2029. I didn't say 39, 29.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, so Kwame has been my good friend. He did many things to me. I will not repeat. To forgive is divine. So even though he did not consult this side of the house, you are begging. Today you are doing this. Mr. Speaker, I know he's anxious for his appointment. He's worked so hard for it. He deserves it. And I will not stand in his way. Mr. Speaker, I oblige him. Thank you so much indeed.
Alexander Kwame Afenyomaki. Oh my God. So that was yesterday on the floor of Parliament. So beyond the of course, let's talk about the fun. It was I think it was quite interesting, guys. I've never seen Parliament laugh that many times in one presentation, including the speaker. Everybody was just laughing, and again, despite the rivalry we see, when you see certain moments, you realize that these guys actually work together and they are friends. Because yesterday I saw a video of Barack Obama and Trump talking, and they were laughing, and the CNN said, hey, I think CNN was saying the same thing we say, like, do people know how priceless such a moment is, where Trump is saying something, Obama is laughing, and they're in the same room? And I think with us as well, a lot of times our people don't know that at the end of the day, our politicians are actually very close friends. Because from what I witnessed watching this, I'm surprised. You ask yourself, is it the same people who were fighting at the polling station last month?
But the fight was quite defined. They're fighting over an issue, but it's not an expression of enmity. These are good friends across board.
But do their supporters know?
some of them will know because they live in the communities. Some of them will know. Normally, those who don't know are the follow beams. They just woke up and saw a political party and chose to follow it like a football club. Yeah, follow beams. So, but the real politician, the on the ground people, they know. I mean, if I go to my constituency, they can tell you who the MPP guys' friends are, who are also friends of Atoforsen. Because you see, it shows up when there are funerals.
That's when they come together.
It shows up. No, that's when you see
that's when you see the connections. That's when you see the connections.
You understand? Yeah, I mean, look, when we went to the father of Herbert Crapper's funeral, I mean, I wasn't surprised, but it was a wonderful picture.
Who was there?
Of NDC MPs and NDC people and MPP people all seated in one room under the same umbrella, eating the same food. And I saw my boy Jaja. Yusuf Jaja, who was my student. I traveled from Accra, Nima, all the way to the voter region. So it's there, which is beautiful. We just need to, if you like, sanitize it a bit when we have issues that bring division.
Do you believe the names he mentioned? The guy mentioned majority leader, deputy majority leader. He mentioned roads. He mentioned agric. He mentioned which one's F? About 5 positions. Local government.
These are logically probable names that will fit any day. That will fit any day. I mean,
so do you
Abuja is an architect.
Yeah.
And so the built environment, construction, and stuff like
that. So
Apenyo
wasn't just throwing the name out there. Probably knows something. It was very definite too. He said you are going to land. You are going to roads. You are going to.
At times you have to hasten slowly
because they can swerve him. Or in fact, by mentioning it, maybe jinx it.
That's the point I'm making.
Because you see, this is a house of record. This is my issue. Minority leader on the floor mentions about 7 positions.
We've seen some before under President Kufuor. So
what happened?
I mean, media went ahead to do to mention this and they swerve everybody. So.
But this one is not media. This is the minority leader.
I'm saying that putting it out there in such a strong
Sky,
way.
With your experience in Parliament, have you seen this before, where a leader is mentioning substantive positions, and Parliament, you can't say anything anyhow, and the other side didn't challenge? You see, if somebody has said somebody could have said he's out of order. Do you understand? Because he's on his feet as minority leader and he's saying, Agboja, you are going to Rose, Banda, you are going to local government, Kofi Bua, you are going to lands. Somebody could have said, Mr. Speaker, he's out of order, or his point of whatever. They were just laughing. It's so serious.
Well, you see, at that level, people don't talk anyhow. Because, mind you, there's a lot of consultation that is done across the aisle to get government formed. And you should not be surprised if you hear from previous leaders, and I would imagine that should not depart from what should happen presently. When they tell you that they have received a direct call from the president or somebody close to him that helped me form my government. Because you need the opposition, and in the course of some of these discussions, things get said. So it is, if it's not coming, if it's coming in from the minority leader, it should carry some weight. And then also, look, it is one house. People have friends across the aisle, and they would give an indication of what is likely to happen. I'm saying this with some great caution, because I do know to a large extent so it's just like maybe Bernard tomorrow, someone calls you to say, look, I'm giving you ABCD appointment. I'm sure if you are so minded, you would call Samens or you call me. That is, if you think we matter to you that much, and I assume we are, of some substance in your life. and say, oh, Charlie, this is the situation. What do you think? Sometimes.
But you won't go on the floor and go and say it.
No, you see, Bernard.
If I told you.
The truth is that sometimes. Anyway.
No, I know where you're going. So you're saying that maybe it's possible that the names haven't been mentioned to prevent changes, because maybe there are people who are trying to.
No, I don't.
All kinds of things could be happening.
I think the president is determined to appoint specific people to specific places. And I would not be surprised if the minority leader is privy to that information.
Because usually the communication comes to Parliament first.
Yeah, that's right.
He said something which I wanted to ask you. He said the opposition or minority know more than you guys.
Yeah, because the point
is that true?
So Bernard, you see, when presidents want to make appointments, and this is from my speaking with people who have run systems in the past, who is likely to create problems if I bring that person to the appointments committee?
Opposition.
Yeah, that's the opposition, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you ordinarily want to do?
You want to check with the opposition
exactly,
or let them.
Oh, Charlie, I mean, this is the person I'm thinking of. What is your thinking? What like?
So people will sound them out to check.
Yeah. So some of these things are done in order to prepare certain, if you like.
I get your point.
Yes.
Because you don't want the person to go and hit a brick wall.
Exactly.
Because you want to know the mind.
Yeah, of what the opposition is thinking.
I get you. Because if they feel like this guy is a terrible decision, then the person may run into all kinds of problems in the vetting.
And then also, the appointment, the nominations don't just get made. The security institutions are asked to do background checks on all manner.
So things can leak.
In the course of, I'm not saying that things are late. In the course of that, you know, things get picked up. They speak to people that, oh, Charlie, ABCD, the old man is thinking of ABCD, blah, blah, blah. We are looking at a number of options. But what do you think of this guy? Is there anything that you know? And at that level, minority leader, majority leader, so many things happen there. And so when you hear things like this, don't be surprised. Sometimes
but let me add that, you see, I'm not so sure this process, as you refer to, would have taken place yet, because if it took place, Apenya will not come and say it publicly. That's what I'm thinking.
Or maybe it's gone beyond that stage.
If they have confided in him at that level, I would be surprised if he would come openly and put it out in the manner.
So what
I'm sure that it's making the rounds. It definitely
or maybe
confidentiality. Maybe there's confidentiality and there is also
there's freedom.
Yeah, you see. Okay, let me put it this way. There are times.
Okay, Sky, let me help you. I think
too much. He won't calibrate what he's saying.
Hold on. This is what I think from an outsider's point of view. The only reason he would do this is that he knows it's gone to a certain stage where it's safe for him to say it.
All right.
So if they had come to see him in the quiet to sound the names out, it will be quite bad for him to come and do this. So he's obviously doing this because he knows that it's gotten to a certain irreversible stage.
Or perhaps the people themselves want it affirmed.
Possibly, because if you are the only person who knows something and you come and say it in the open, that's betrayal of trust. So he obviously is saying things he believes that most people who know.
All right.
Do you understand my point?
So you mean it's public information already?
Yeah, because why would Sky, by the way, like, I've never Sky, hold on. Why didn't the government side nobody raised any point? They were just laughing. Because it is including the speaker.
No. You see, and they wanted him to go ahead.
Yes. The rest were waiting for this.
Listen, one continue.
But the worst part was most of you become backbenchers.
Dropping the team, man.
Send us your comments. Two things. I'm proposing that don't listen to my premise. President says plenty people are sending CVs. Yes. I am proposing that they should send their CVs for local governance. They should go and accept position in their local government areas because we need the best people to work there. That is the first proposal I'm making. We are also saying that there has to be some governance reform at the local level to allow the energies of these people at local level to be unleashed, because if you send the right person into a role with a system that doesn't allow them to be fiscally decentralized, to raise their own revenue, to be able to have enough generation power, they can't make a change. So that's point number 2. We understand the political cost of that because people see these positions as their natural progression after working for the parties. My pushback to Sky is that, look, the and this president has just 4 years, so he basically has no re-election to run. He's won a decisive mandate that required people to vote for him from various places, so he can, and he says he wants to reset. So he can say, for these 4 years, we're going to stop the political progression. And I know he will get people who oppose him from his party. That is true. But we still think that if you want to make a real impact, local, in fact, this radio show probably has spoken about local governments more than most. And we've said that if you want Ghana to really unleash its potential, local government is where you go. And we also are against the balkanization of our metropolitan areas, particularly Accra, because we know that some of in our history, we've had some very strong mayors, okay? Natunu Amat Efio was mayor. Then there was Ajiri Blankson. I think the last strong mayor we had is Oko Van Der Poy. That's my personal view. Who was able to basically get the respect and mobilize the capital. Following the balkanization of Accra, the mayors have become politically inconsequential. Not even because of their own personalities.
Not just politically, functionally as
yes,
well.
so they are not able to drive change. And all of this is coming from just the sheer size of Accra. Yesterday I went to...
As for that AMA proper there, Charlie Bobo.
Charlie. So, and it's interesting. Sky, I actually... I said a visionary point. I think if the kind of proposal we are making is anything to go by, the president's choice of local government minister is very important.
Very.
Because you see, you were saying something about how the people at the assembly have to have a dual reporting system. So if you are MCE for say, Norton, you are dealing with your regional minister who works in Ho, and you're dealing with your local government minister who's in Accra. Now, I think there has to be some clarity as to the reporting system there. Okay, because for some issues, your regional minister is the person you have to go to. But the minister who evaluates your work is your local government minister. Okay, and I feel like there's a bit of problem in that arrangement, which has to be clarified. If local governance is, and I use Nigeria, although Nigeria is federal.
No, you see, again, I like the point that you raised with Nigeria, because you know, the federal systems, the appointing authority is actually the governor. The governor.
Good.
In this case, the regional minister is not the appointing authority; it's the president, and the president within cabinet relates with the local government minister, not the regional minister, because regional ministers are not cabinet ministers. They may be invited as and when. And so the structure as it is now permits the dualization of the dual reporting systems in terms of the functionality and the peculiarity of the regions. And in the same way, the local government ministry having an oversight authority of all the regions in that manner.
Okay, so the question is, what is the character of the person who needs to be local government minister if this reform has worked? I feel like you need a reformer who understands the political needs of the party at the local level, but also the developmental needs of the country, who will do some work to unleash the assemblies to be more effective. So somebody who has a lot of experience, who understands local governance from a very organic perspective, who has probably been a mayor before. That's what I see.
This person should be able to work seamlessly with the chief of staff and the president.
No, you see,
as a minister, as a local government minister, reforming the kind of thing.
You make a very valid point, except that, you see, we have a very unique situation presently. Samensis point valid.
Which one?
That someone who can work with the president and then also work with the chief of staff. But that is to ignore or maybe forget about, or maybe to be silent on the party's role.
The political party
the political party. The reason
that's vested in the chief of staff. That's why I bring in the chief of staff.
No, but you see what
some chiefs of staff are not party people.
Yeah, you see,
like when they brought some. It depends on the choice.
The function of the chief of staff.
Okay. To be fair, Sky, but this chief of staff we have is a party.
No, you see, the chief of staff's role is to put the party running together with the government. He becomes the point of intersection. At all times.
So hold on. Are you making? Let me ask you. Are you making a general point?
A general point,
not necessarily because of this.
No.
All right. So you go on.
Yeah, but you see, beyond that, if the party doesn't have enough influence on what choices the president gets to make at those levels, then you have a disconnect. You may have a president who believes that a particular chief of staff can hold
the party and the government
balance.
together.
Yeah, but then the party sees the person as an extension of the presidency and interested perhaps in furthering a certain agenda. Now, there's a reason I'm saying this. Because if you talk to people around the NDC presently, we are told that there is a vested interest as to who becomes the local government minister. Because first of all,
vested interests.
Okay, yes.
There are vested interests.
Vested interests.
Yes.
Good. Thank you for that. Because of, first of all, you have a president who will not seek re-election by reason of constitutional limitation. Then you have party big guns or big wigs or hawks who see themselves as potential presidential candidates or would want to throw their names into the...
They want to fertilize the ground ahead of movement.
So they want to hold a certain influence in each and every district and every constituency.
Logically so.
Exactly. Now what that requires is to have someone who would be your man on the ground, depending on who is interested. You understand?
But that's what we are fighting. We are not here to perpetrate somebody's
Your man, I think, is not as in a sycophant.
Yes.
Okay, so go on.
You see, Bernard, you talk about the ideal. I tell you about what practically is there.
Yeah, so we have to merge the two. because
political parties are not Father Christmas.
No, I know, but see, we cannot advance if we only work with what exists.
No, I agree with you. I'm just giving you the other side.
No, I agree, 100%. Yes, 100%.
So you see, with that in mind, it will not be only the president's decision to make, and you would expect that there will be a major fight behind the scenes, or even if a decision gets ultimately made, there will be issues across various areas, because some people would want to exert a certain influence at the micro level.
Very good.
In order to further whatever interest they may have. That's not to say that whoever ultimately gets produced will not have the confidence.
So from what you're saying that the choice of local government minister may be under contention. Exactly. Maybe that's why the name has not even come out. That it could be. It's very delicate. Okay, do something for me, Caleb. Yes. Get me the names of our past 5 or 6 local government ministers. I just want to see something to test your hypothesis. You are saying something about party. No, you said government. He should work with the president and chief of staff well. He should be able to also be a strong party person. But I'm saying you need a reformer. A reformer who understands what this is my point. Our governance structure has to change if Ghana must develop.
I agree.
And I think local governance has to become more effective.
I agree.
Now that premise requires that the past may not be the best measure of where we are going, because we've tried this model for a long time and we realize that we've hit a ceiling. Now, which is why I'm saying let me give you an example of people who I know are experienced, and I hope they don't take it wrongly. So let's assume Sylvester Mensah, former MP for Labadi, former NHIS boss. Just imagine for a second. I'm not saying this will make him go back to La, but imagine if he was, under some radical arrangement, the MCE for Ladade Kotopon. Under some radical arrangements. Imagine the knowledge and experience and background he will bring to La. Fine, it may not be, it seems like a demotion. You understand? Because this guy even ran for president. But I'm saying that desperate times require desperate moves. You want somebody who has a clear plan from day one what to do. Okay, so Sly, forgive me for using your name here, but it's just an example I'm giving. If you make such a person the MCE for La, it just tells you that the local government has to be a person of substance. For this person to even be able to relate to him, suddenly places in La, Chado, it becomes a different equation. How to manage traffic, how to manage property rates. It becomes a different conversation. I think in 4 years it will change. It's a radical idea, but that's the kind of thing you need, because if all the people because if you just take your former constituency secretary and make him DCE, fine, constituency secretary knows how to organize people to vote. But Sky, DCE for an area with that level of, even the president currently lives in that area. If you think about where he lives, right? This is a very rich Bema campus in that area. The person who runs the place must have a plan. He must be experienced. He must have mobilizing power. He must report to somebody who has a lot of experience. in what we've done is that we've sacrificed development for political expediency. So we said, okay, let's get someone who doesn't rock the boat. Let's get a party man. What have these party people done necessarily at the local level? And by the way, the fact that you help a party win an election doesn't mean that you automatically need to be given a position. Because everybody voted. You get me? Yeah. And every president who wins needs a coalition of people to vote for him. Civil society, non-party. So it's not like the fact that you are a constituency organizer means that necessarily you should be given a post. Okay? If we don't change that and we keep saying party, we cannot go anywhere. So this doesn't sound palatable to party people. But they didn't vote for a president to come and do things palatable to party people. Mm-hmm. He was given the reins to come and bring development to the country. If the country goes forward, we all go forward. Mm-hmm. So this idea of party, tripod and those things, they should throw it somewhere and move the nation forward. Who have been your...
Before Caleb comes, you see the point, I think Sky also reiterated this function of local government minister thing. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm trying to equate it with the national security minister, who the president meets on daily basis. Okay. Now, if that person is not your man, it's going to be difficult.
Of course.
And I think that where we've gotten to, the status of the local government minister can be equated to this in terms of the way it's integrated,
even the pulse of the nation.
The president's diary.
Yes.
And so should the chief of staff be involved in it. Yeah. Because, as I said, the chief of staff stands between the party structure and the government structure.
In the way our system is designed.
You have somebody like Prosper Bani, who was an excellent person with UN background.
Yeah.
He did not survive as a chief of staff. Yeah. Because he was not
a party person,
properly so-called person.
Yeah, right.
But he was an excellent person.
I get you.
Also, he was thought.
No.
I introduced
he's talking professional competence.
No, I'm talking about
the party side.
Yes.
No, what I'm saying is that I'm talking about relative to Julius Debra.
Okay. 100%.
You understand? So I'm just saying, 100%. And I always, anytime I talk about chief of staff, it's Nana Atudazi that comes to mind. You know,
nobody sees him as a threat. He can work with everybody.
He was just like a symbol of unity, even in the face of disastrous disagreement.
I get you.
You understand?
So you need somebody like that.
You need somebody like, and I think that Julius has fit into that role naturally. And so it's very critical who becomes the local government minister.
Yeah, it is.
Very critical.
Will the person?
I mean, the person don't get the person is inheriting the whole drip project.
I just wanted to run through the list of former government local just to be sure. So we had Damboche as the former one. Who came before Damboche in MPP?
That was the woman
Hajia. So she was in Akufo-Addo's first term, and then Damboche in Mohammed's 2012.
Pomfosu at some point.
Kwabena Pomfosu.
So yeah.
And then before Pomfosu and the Mills, it was who? Was this Collins Dauda? Was it Collins? Pomfosu local minister. Okay. I thought Collins Dauda was local minister. Or he wasn't.
No, he was in charge of housing.
Who was Kufuor's second local government minister? So Baredu was first, and then there was Ike Ajemen or something. Yes. Do you have the names?
There is Kwadwo Ajay Dakom.
Under Kufuor?
Yes.
Kufuor's second term?
Yes, please.
Okay. And then Mohammed's Mills?
Kufuor, this is 2001 to 2003. That's where you have Kwadwo Baredu.
Baredu was the first for Kufuor?
Yes, please. Then you have Kwadwo Ajay Dakom. This is 2003, 2005.
Taking over from him.
Then 2005, 2006, Charles Bimpom Bintim.
Charles Bintim, okay.
Yes. And then there was Stephen Asamoah Boateng, 2006, 2007.
Okay.
So it looks like every other year,
lot.
Yes, he had the most local government ministers.
Obviously trying to figure out something.
I'm telling you
because to have 4 local government ministers in one
it's
president.
The pulse of the presidency, and no president within this republic is going to sit and watch you know. So I'm just saying that you must be, you say it has to be a visionary and all that. I don't think those are the critical things.
So let's come to Mills.
You should be able to work with the president. That's the key thing. So because if you misbehave, they will remove you.
When Mills came, his first local government was who?
Joseph Yelitre,
who is Upper West.
Yes, 2009 to 2000.
Yelitre, and after that became who?
Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo,
who was the national organizer of the MTC at the time. And then after that, who?
Then Mahama came, brought Akwesi Opong-Fosu.
He's from, is it Western or BA?
He was an MP, yes, but I'm not sure.
Akwesi Opong-Fosu, and after that, who?
Yeah. Alima Mahama came in under Akufo-Addo 1.
Under Rawlings, who was local government minister?
Rawlings had.
Actually, that was Kwamina, the man whose book you reviewed. What's his name?
Kofi Bedu.
No, Rawlings minister, local minister was Kwame Nahoy.
Rawlings Kwame Nahoy, yes.
Yeah, Kwame Nahoy was local government minister. Yeah. He's the guy who wrote the book, right? Yeah.
Yes, so there was Kwame Nahoy, there was Joyce Aye.
Joyce Aye?
PNDC,
okay.
PNDC, so further back. But there was Johnson after Kwame Nahoy. Ahoy was...
quite a long time,
It ended at 93, 94.
And Cecilia Johnson took over.
Cecilia Johnson ended in 2001.
Wow.
Yeah, then Kojo Barredo in that order.
Before we go, who do you think is a good name for that position?
Well, if what we hear is
not what you hear, what you think.
Bernard, because you see, sometimes when you say these things, people begin to mean you.
You don't want them to mean you. So you don't want to jinx it. You don't want them to mean you.
No.
So what we hear, we are interested. What
we hear is that it will most likely go to
Ahmed Ibrahim.
Yeah.
I actually think, in addition to that, they should consider the former mayor of Accra. I think he could do a good job. I don't know how much energy he has,
and
but
then also your friend, my good friend too. What's the name?
Unilante Van der Poel.
Yeah, he's also mentioned.
His name is also been mentioned. Okay.
A lot of stories.
So Banda MP.
Yeah.
Ahmed Ibrahim, and then maybe Nilante Van der Poel. We'll see. Thank you. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we have more. Effective Living series continues this morning. What are we discussing?
Bernard, we'll be looking at personal manifestos.
All right.
In times like this. So
personal manifestos.
Yes, personal leadership manifesto in times like this.
All right.
Robert Benin is the chief learning strategist at Temple Advisory. Apioka will be chatting with him.
I wanted to read on 2 quick messages before, but tell me more about the Munche milk.
So snack time just got a whole lot better with Munche milk shortcake. It's a unique blend of milky richness, carefully selected ingredients. Munche milk shortcake is crafted to delight your taste buds. If you're looking for pure satisfaction and authentic taste of original milk richness, grab a pack and you are good to go. Indulge in Ghana's favorite biscuit brand and in the milky goodness today. And when you're buying cement, please go for the very best. Choose Diamond Cement. They have the 42.5 hour grade cement. Since 2000, they've been in the system. They've been putting smiles on our faces. Now they have the more affordable one, which is 32.5 hour grade, which is good for your pocket. It's also good quality as well. Find them at Aplao Takradi Buepe. Call these numbers 0244 313 368 0540 111 978 or 0202 021 175. Diamond Cement still as hard as
I want us to read a few reactions to the discussion. So David said, Bernard, when former President Soglo of Benin left office, he became mayor of Cotonou. So it's not a demotion. Another one, Bernard, it's only a demotion because of how we think. In Switzerland, former presidents can become ministers of state. Okay, so that's
in the UK, of course.
Yes. So a lot of people seem to agree with the point around bringing experienced people to work at the local level. Bernard, your call or proposal is good, but it won't work because the people send their CVs to JM or because money is not there. Mind you, even if all your experience, if you are sent by your boss to go and man a local radio station, will you take it?
Francis.
Oh, I'll take it too. If they start a new station and start going around it, I'll go. Let's continue.
Good morning, Bernard and team. I just want to add my voice to what Caleb said. Appointees should at least have some basic knowledge in the position given to catalyze the appropriate development needed for the areas they appointed to. In 1997, a similar thing happened when after Mike Gizo had been removed from the tourism ministry. Nana Kumiat taunted him on the floor and Mike Gizo was later sent to the Greater Accra region. It might have been pure coincidence though, but at the time all the posts had been shared and rumors had it that but for Nana Komia, Magizo would have been left out. This is Henry Abu from West Adent.
We'll take a short break and be back. Stay with us.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
When you hear that sound, it can only mean one thing. It's the sound of excitement, the sound of milky goodness. It's the unmistakable sound of rich, creamy deliciousness. The sound that lets you know that the original milky richness awaits. The milky richness you can find in every bite of Munchie Milk Shortcake.
With its unique blend of milky richness and carefully selected ingredients, Munchie Milk Shortcake is crafted from an original age-old recipe to delight your taste buds. If you're looking for pure satisfaction and the authentic taste of original milky richness, it's time to grab a pack of your favorite biscuit, Munchie Milk Shortcake, today.
This advert is FDA approved.
Hey, so what goes into building quality structures? I mean, literally, what goes into it? Wujaf, you don't want to be sitting here somewhere worrying whether or not you did a really good job. It's a very simple equation. If there's no diamond cement in the mix, massa, forget it. Don't start cry. Menye, diamond cement has been providing builders, block makers, and construction companies that peace of mind for years. Diamond cement is 42.5 R grade cement, unbeatable quality made right here in Ghana. And because we have your pocket in mind, we provide 32.5 R grade so that everybody getting on. No long talk, Jack. If there's no diamond cement in the mix, don't start. Locate Diamond Cement Ghana Limited nationwide with factories in Aflao, Takrade, and Buipe, or call 0244-313-368 or 0540-111-978 or 0202-021-175. Diamond Cement, still as hard as a diamond.
Ghana Post. Ghana Post. The most affordable delivery option for food and merchandise from Ghana to everywhere in the world. Connect with us today and see for yourself. Ghana Post. Smart, secure deliveries.
Package, in less than 5 days, Ghana Post, they make life they big. Ghana Post will deliver things wherever you are in the world.
Are you looking for an institution of higher learning to unlock your potentials? Look no further than Valley View University, Ghana's premier chartered private university. Valley View University offers undergraduate and postgraduate degree programs in business administration, education, computer science, agriculture science, agribusiness, information technology, nursing and midwifery, development studies. Join a community that shapes character and provides excellent education. Apply now www.admissions.vvu.edu.gh. For enquiries, call 050-970-3052 or 030-7011-846. Valley View University, excellence, integrity, and service.
First impressions matter. Make yours unforgettable with the irresistible scent of Princess Body Mist and Roll-On. Designed for every lady who wants to leave a lasting impression wherever she goes. And for our gentlemen, there is Style Up Perfume and Roll-On. Elevate your presence with a confident, masculine fragrance that keeps you dry and fresh all day. Because your fragrance should speak before you do, use Princess Body Mist and Roll-On and Style Up Perfume and Roll-On. Your daily essentials for smelling good from dawn till dusk. Princess and Style Up. Smell good and feel great together. The GC brand. It's all about you. This advert is FDA approved.
When you hear that sound, it can only mean one thing. It's the sound of excitement, the sound of milky goodness. It's the unmistakable sound of rich, creamy deliciousness. The sound that lets you know that the original milky richness awaits. The milky richness you can find in every bite of Munchie Milk Shortcake.
With its unique blend of milky richness and carefully selected ingredients, Munchie Milk Shortcake is crafted from an original age-old recipe to delight your taste buds. If you're looking for pure satisfaction and the authentic taste of original milky richness, it's time to grab a pack of your favorite biscuit, Munchie Milk Shortcake, today.
This advert is FDA approved.
Are you hoping to start university this January? If you want a British degree from a world-class university at a fraction of the cost, then join Lancaster University Ghana in Accra. With a diverse student community, vibrant campus life, and up to 50% scholarship to support your study, Lancaster University Ghana provides you with a world-class education that creates endless possibilities globally. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Apply to join Lancaster University Ghana, where learners become leaders. Admissions are currently open for for our January 2025 intake. Apply now for our foundation program. For more information, contact us at +233 030 221 8989 or send an email to admissions@lancaster.edu.gh. Lancaster University, Ghana, the only British university campus in West Africa.
First impressions matter. Make yours unforgettable with the irresistible scent of Princess Body Mist and Roll-On. Designed for every lady who wants to leave a lasting impression wherever she goes. And for our gentlemen, there is Style Up Perfume and Roll-On. Elevate your presence with a confident, masculine fragrance that keeps you dry and fresh all day. Because your fragrance should speak before you do, use Princess Body Mist and Roll-On and Style Up Perfume and Roll-On. Your daily essentials for smelling good from dawn till dusk. Princess and Style Up. Smell good and feel great together. The GC brand. It's all about you. This advert is FDA approved.
Hello there. It's the Gadget Master Free TV Winner-thon. From now till 30th of January 2025, shop your favorite gadget and stand a chance to win the free TV. And one is a what will be a free the Gadget Master. Now we're winning free smart TV. Brought to you in partnership with NLA Caritas. Remember, the more you shop, the more you win. Shop now. Your free TV awaits you. Don't miss it. Terms and conditions apply.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show. The city's biggest conversation.
This is the Effective Living Series 2025 here on Channel 1 TV and 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Apioko Sarah Mashong Abe. Apioko will suffice. You are very welcome. And I think it's still in order to say Happy New Year in Ghana, even when we're in June, July, August, we still say Happy New Year if we're seeing you or hearing from you for the very first time. This year, the broad theme for the Effective Living Series is the reset. It's the big reset. We're resetting our personal lives, resetting our personal finances, resetting our health, resetting our families, and we are resetting our businesses. In week 1, we are looking at the personal reset. We've had several conversations already, but today we're looking at how you, yes you, can prepare your personal manifesto. We're going to be talking about why it's important to do that. What is a personal manifesto in the first place, and how will it help you to reset your life for success? All right, so let's go for a quick break, and when we come back, I'll introduce my guest. He's a very interesting person, and this concept of the manifesto just keeps blowing my mind, and I'm very excited to be having this conversation with him today so that he can break it down to the T, and then you can understand why writing a personal manifesto just may change your life in 2025 and beyond. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is still the Effective Living Series right here on Channel 1 TV and 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Apioko. We are talking about the reset, and as I said in week 1, we've been looking at personal resets. However, today we're looking at a very special topic. Before I get into that, let me acknowledge our sponsors for the Effective Living Series 2025. Hallmark Cafe, and Hallmark Cafe is doing something they have their own personal manifesto and they're going by it. They are looking at how to produce much more healthy meals, and starting this year, if you walk into a Hallmark Cafe branch, you just may be able to get a vegan meal. And they'll tell you more about that when you go in. But bottom line, expect to have many healthier choices that can suit your particular health needs when you walk into Hallmark Cafe. Thank you, Hallmark Cafe, for sponsoring the Effective Living Series 2025. Now it's time to introduce my guests. Now today we're talking about resetting your life, and the particular topic is this: reset your life and leadership with a personal leadership manifesto. Reset your life and leadership with a personal leadership manifesto. And the gentleman who is most qualified to speak to us about this is Robert M. Benin. He is the Chief Learning Strategist at Temple Advisory. He's the convener of the CEO Accelerator Program. He's dedicated the last couple of years to his life going around working with some of our most celebrated CEOs here in Ghana and within the African continent, and just getting them to understand how they can be the best leaders for our generation and our times, if only they have a personal leadership manifesto. So it's my pleasure to welcome Robert. Robert, you're welcome to the Effective Living Series.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Good.
It's good to have you here.
Thank you for your invitation.
You had to be the one. You had to be the one.
Thanks.
Now, personal manifestos, personal leadership manifestos, what are they? When we hear the word manifesto, we're thinking a political party. It's election time. We just came out of that season, and they're getting the people to understand what they will be doing for the populace, for the country, if we were to give them the mandate. But when you talk about personal manifesto, what is it?
Apioko, personal manifesto is not different from a political manifesto. Every leader needs to have a manifesto. Your manifesto is your promise, the promise you're making to your stakeholders. It's not the list of things you want to have. We've started a new year. Maybe you may want to be fit, you may want to buy a new car, you may want to get a degree. That's all great. But a personal manifesto is your promise to your stakeholders. The change you seek to make in the world. That's what the politicians do. They are leaders, and we're also leaders. And so far as we have a constituency, then we need to declare our intent. So the manifesto helps them to engage with us because they know what to expect when they engage with us. That's a manifesto.
No, that's very interesting. So what we're saying is, regardless of whether you operate within the bigger framework of, say, a company, you may be the CEO, you may be the COO, you may have some kind of leadership position, or you're a teacher, you lead your students, your learners in the classroom, or you're a business owner, you have employees who work with you. Beyond what the bigger mandate and framework is for wherever you exist, you need a personal manifesto as well.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because the manifesto is your blueprint for leadership. It's your own agenda. It's your own strategy to make meaning and to succeed and to have influence in your world.
Are there leaders of repute who have personal manifestos?
I can tell you, it's your manifesto that makes you a leader, and there are several examples. I mean, I can start from home. Nkrumah told us his manifesto. I mean, in as much as he was fighting for our independence, he said clearly our independence is meaningless unless it is linked to the liberation of the entire African continent. That was his manifesto. That was his life pursuit. I mean, you can think about Martin Luther King. I have a dream. That was his manifesto, that we can have a just world where we're not judged by the color of our skin. You can think of Nelson Mandela. He also willed for a free and a democratic society where we all had equal opportunity. He gave that speech in the Rivona trial and said, I'm prepared to die for this ideal. That was his manifesto. You can talk about Wangari Maathai of Kenya, also leading the Green Belt movement. These are all manifestos. Every leader leads with a manifesto. And we're all leaders, and so we can all have manifestos.
So far we've spoken about leadership on the societal governance level. We've touched a bit on, within a corporate setting. What about leadership in your home? Is that also something that should have a manifesto?
That's where it starts. And so you need to have a manifesto, because your manifesto is how you will navigate the difficulties of having a better life. And given all the challenges that we're faced with, the manifesto is your succinct articulation of the blueprint for your life. And so we need it for our families, we need it for our teams, we need it for our corporates, we need it for our nations.
Okay. How do we even begin to start preparing a manifesto? This is something we actually have to write, right?
Yes.
How do we begin? How do we get into it?
It's very simple, because when we think about manifestos, we're not asking that you imagine your life purpose, which sometimes it's challenging for most people to do, and for me as well, because to sit here and to think about my entire life purpose. But when we think about manifesto, is the change I'm seeking to make, is the promise I'm making to my family, to my team, to my organization, to my community, to my nation, and I can do that. And so there are a couple of questions that I believe when we answer them, we can actually come up with a manifesto. And I'll talk to you about that as we go through the process.
All right, so you know what, let's go for a quick break. When we return, Robert is going to take us into the step-by-step. He's going to give us a manual, really, as to how to prepare our personal leadership manifestos. We will be right back. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the Effective Living Series 2025. This year, we're talking about the big reset. We're resetting in every aspect of our lives, personally, business-wise, health, you name it. I'm speaking to Robert N. Benin. He's the Chief Learning Strategist at Temple Advisory, and he's the convener for the CEO Accelerator Program. And we're talking about the reset. So reset your life and leadership with a personal leadership manifesto. Before we went on the break, he started telling us so many interesting things. We've established what a personal manifesto is, why it's important, and now we're going to get into the deep details. How do we write? How do we prepare? How do we craft? How do we manifest that personal leadership manifesto, Robert?
Yeah, I mean, that's an important question. Before we get into that, I think I need to give a bit of context.
Absolutely.
I mean, why we need to reset with a personal manifesto. I mean, we've gone through a very difficult time. We're in one of the fastest changing times in our lives. And if we look at the terrible time we went through in 2020, the thing called COVID, that unfortunate period where we were just locked down, we stayed at home, we tried to work, trying to live and actually trying to save our lives. That made all of us to sit back, to ponder over our lives and to make some important decisions. We decided that we don't want to spend all our lives working and hoping to retire someday and live happily ever after. We actually want to work now and also play. We decided we actually don't want to go to work and work in a place called work. We can actually work from home. We decided that really we don't want to go and work in a place where we're not appreciated for the contributions we make, where our bosses will make us feel small, when we really want our lives to count for something, where there's limited opportunities for growth. And that's the context for our conversation. Because in as much as we have these desires and urges, without a manifesto, they are just desires. A manifesto helps us to put a stake in the ground so we can move towards our noblest aspirations.
So you need to be able to lead yourself, essentially.
Exactly.
If you want to achieve anything.
Exactly.
If you want to materialize your dreams.
Yes. And the manifesto is the starting point. At a national level, we've gone through also a very difficult time in recent past. As a matter of fact, over the next couple of years, if we don't achieve GDP growth rates above 8%, we would have basically lost a decade.
That's a scary statistic.
It's scary. We're living in a country where 40% of the population are multidimensionally poor. Poverty levels have not improved in the past decade in any significant way.
So that's for every one person you meet out of 4 people.
For every 10.
For every 10.
4 are multidimensionally poor. That means that their living conditions are not the best. They don't have the best of healthcare. They don't have the best of education. And these are coming from our own statistical agency. 23% of the population are living in poverty. I mean, this calls for every leader to articulate a manifesto highlighting the change they seek to make, because we can't rely on political leadership alone to reset our country.
Now, Robert, you've highlighted something very important. A lot of people may say, especially in this week where we're talking about the personal reset, a lot of people may say, well, I haven't even figured myself out yet. Why should I be thinking about the society? Yeah, it's not a good thing. It's sad. It's tragic even that for every 10 people I meet, 4 of them are multidimensionally poor. It's a big deal. But what has that got to do with me? That's why we vote people into power. Why should people be more concerned personally about what's happening beyond their homes, beyond their doorsteps, in their societies?
I mean, I think, all of us, you cannot be free. You cannot be at peace. You cannot be healthy. You cannot feel prosperous and live well when your neighbor is not living well. It has dire consequences for our society. And so many of us as leaders, we underestimate our power and influence for change, because we have to reset this country and we cannot rely on political leadership alone to do that. All of us putting our shoulders to the wheel, declaring our manifestos and articulating the change we seek to make in our teams, in our families, in our societies, in our communities, working collectively will bring about the change we desire to see in this country.
Great stuff. So now how do we get into preparing, crafting that all-important manifesto?
Yeah, I mean, it's very easy to craft. I will give you 6 questions that helps us do that. Number 1, the question you need to ask yourself is, what are my aspirations?
What are my aspirations?
What are my aspirations? When I think about myself and I think about my community, what do I wish to see change within my own community?
Is this what you wish to see immediately or long term?
Immediately. What change can I make now? And all of us are involved in something, because we come to work, we work with our families, we are engaged in our communities, but we haven't taken time to carefully articulate the change that we can make through our efforts. And so we underestimate our capacity and our effort. And so first of all, we need to be bold and to aspire for change in our community.
Okay.
Number 2, what values do you commit to live by? Because it's values that gives us value.
It's values that gives us value.
It's values that gives us value. With our values, we cannot build a just society. How would you like to contribute? And for me, that's the best question, because we can all contribute. I mean, if I'm a Christian, I believe
I am as
you
well.
are as well. I mean, God asked Moses a simple question: what do you have in your hand? And all of us, we have something in our hands that we can contribute. Our nation can benefit from your dreams, from your effort, from your education, from your strength, for all that you have. And so you have to think about, what can I contribute in your family, in your community, in your team, in your organization, and make that contribution. Determined to make that contribution. 4th question, what's your growth plan? What practices and actions can you take to improve your abilities? Because if you improve your abilities, then you can further enhance your contribution. So it's important that you think about what I can do to improve my abilities.
Okay, so that would count for skills, upskilling,
reading more, learning more.
Yeah.
But we learn through experience.
Absolutely.
And so when it comes to this, my first prescription is that do something.
Do something.
Do something.
Do something.
Because you will learn when you do. We learn to cut down trees by cutting them down.
Absolutely.
So you will learn through the doing. Most importantly also, because we're leaders and we're engaging with teams and colleagues, you need to be clear about what your teams can expect when they engage with you. That's part of your manifesto. Who is going to show up today when I come into the studio and I meet Apioko? Is it going to be the Apioko that I know, who is bright, bubbly, encouraging, smiling, willing to engage, or another person, which makes it difficult?
Alter ego.
I didn't say that. And finally, how do you keep yourself inspired and energized so you can pursue your manifesto in spite of the challenges that we have in our environment?
So you prepare the manifesto, but you need to make sure that you're also ready to execute it.
Exactly. Right? And your execution plan is part of the manifesto. You don't prepare now, later thinking about how to execute. When you are thinking about your manifesto, you're thinking about how can I remain energized and inspired to pursue this? Because making a contribution is not easy. It's hard. You may have to change your lifestyle. You may have to make some sacrifices. I mean, some leaders, the example I gave, Nelson Mandela saying, I'm prepared to die and spend 27 years in prison. Yeah, not all of us can do that, but there's a contribution you can also make. And it's important you begin to think about, what can I do to stay inspired and energized as I pursue my manifesto? And it's part of thinking and crafting your manifesto.
So what about the person who says, I'm not a great writer, where do I even begin?
Well, manifesto writing is not an essay competition. We're not. I'm
trying to make sure that people don't have any excuse, and we actually get to this.
And that's good, because you can actually, as one old friend of mine told me, you can actually take your WhatsApp and then the message to yourself, press on the voice and speak your manifesto into that,
into your own
inbox, and later you can transcribe, because actually your manifesto has to be in your own voice. I can actually give you one manifesto we know about, so I can say one leader, one manifesto.
One leader, one manifesto.
Yes, because it has to be your own voice. And it's your manifesto. We're not looking at the English that's been used to construct the manifesto. I have helped several leaders in 2024 to craft their manifestos. You know, there's one beautiful one I have here that I can actually share with you. I won't mention the name of the person
we would like to hear
who wrote that manifesto, but when I work with leadership teams, and we go through this process, we're doing this with a group of CEOs, and one CEO said, I didn't realize that writing a manifesto is that hard. I said, don't show some respect to those politicians. When they say 24-hour economy, don't say, what is this? So they take time to do this, but we're not saying that you should also spend an entire day writing. This is what one leader came up with when we had the session, and they had to write. I'm not going to mention the name. I said, I promise to live by the values of integrity and compassion, and to lead by example and be resilient. I intend to improve team performance by providing prompt support to the team at all times, continuously sharing ideas and training with team members, communicating effectively to aid with team coordination, contribution to knowledge building to make a well-rounded team, committing to a warm working atmosphere where people are free to express their views and honoring well-deserved members. My growth plans include continuous learning on all aspects of the business and enrolling in relevant courses to my field of work. My team can expect a courageous leader, very competent in her work with clarity of purpose. I'm working on my attitude to be patient, understanding, and less judgmental, to be a team player at all times, and train team members to boost their confidence in discharging their duties. That was a manifesto written by one of the leaders I work with.
Very simple, straight to the point, and very clear.
I know you will love to work with a leader like this because you know what to expect when you are engaging with him or her. And that's what all of us need to offer to our teams. One leader, one manifesto.
One leader, one manifesto. Yeah. One leader, one manifesto. So now we're wrapping this conversation up shortly. But how do you make sure that you remain accountable to your manifesto? You remain disciplined in executing it.
Great. One of the things we do when we write our manifestos is to share it with our world. So this manifesto was shared with a group of leaders in her organization. You share it with your world. Just sharing with your world helps you to stay the course. I mean, the process of writing, articulating a manifesto is a win. Sharing it makes it a double win. And then you recruit a group of people who will hold you accountable. But you've already shared it. And so some of your friends, some of your colleagues will come back and ask you, how are you doing on your manifesto? You know, but you also need to make time, end of the month, end of the quarter, to sit back and to review and to reflect. How well are you doing, on the manifesto? And that's a way to stay on track.
Robert,
but you haven't asked me what's my manifesto.
I will share it so I can hold you accountable.
Yeah, because I help leaders to create their manifestos, I also share my manifesto with them. As an example, as a chief learning strategist at Temple Advisory, I have a very simple manifesto. I create learning experiences that enable leaders and organizations to see, believe, and act on their highest aspirations. I design and deliver learning experiences that enable leaders and organizations to see, believe, and act on their highest aspirations. Sometimes we don't see it. Maybe we may see it, but we don't believe it. Right. We may believe it, we're unable to act on it. And so we make sure that when we design learning, we tick all the boxes. And so I come to learning with a lot of empathy because I know change is hard. And so whenever I'm facilitating learning, I show honor and respect to leaders who are desirous of making change. And that's sometimes the difficulty in crafting a manifesto, because the manifesto is asking of our best self and our best intentions. We may not be there yet. The example that I just read to you, this leader said that I will work on my attitude to be patient. And yes, and you can say that in your manifesto.
It's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress, but this is what I am promising, and you can count on me for this. This is the change I seek to make. So anytime I design learning, I make sure it's fun, it's inspirational, and it enables leaders to see the possibilities that they face so that they can act on their own highest aspirations.
Wonderful. Your final words, Robert.
I believe that we cannot reset this country with political leadership alone. We're all leaders, and we do not have to underestimate our power and capacity for influence. We're leading our families at home, we're leading teams, we're leading ourselves, we're leading communities, and so we need to articulate our manifesto and live and lead with that espoused manifesto. And we will see the change we desire, and this country will become the country that we'll all be proud of, This will be our home. We will not jump back to any place. We'll just visit and come back, because this is home and this is home sweet home, and we have made it. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert M. Benin. He's a Chief Learning Strategist at Temple Advisory and convener of the CEO Accelerator Program. Today, we've been talking about resetting your life and leadership with a personal leadership manifesto. I hope you've taken down your notes, and I hope you've even started in one way or another putting your manifesto together. As Robert said, you can send a voice note to yourself and then transcribe it later. But bottom line, do not delve deeply into 2025 without preparing a personal leadership manifesto. This is the Effective Living Series 2025, sponsored very proudly by Hallmark Cafe. Visit their branches and see what's in store on the part of their personal leadership manifesto. My name is Apioko Sarah Mashong Abe. Thank you for listening to 97.3 Citi FM and watching Channel 1 TV.
Wonderful. And that's how we bring an end to today's show. But there is more on the dial for you, so keep it locked. Top of the hour, Hawa Idrisu Mustafa is in with the news at 10. Good morning, Hawa.
Good morning, Caleb. Coming up, President to set up a national